Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Oceania 2084, the campaign of the same name as the game that we're playing, a game by you and Erickson. We're playing it here on Streaming Rainbow. Thank you for joining us. This is one of the duet sessions in a shared world with the main campaign for Season 1 of this show. Here I am playing with my buddy Jaden, who's about to introduce himself in a moment when I toss it over. Before then, I just want to let everybody know this game is largely based on 1984. It isn't a one-to-one. There's a lot of elements from 1984 by George Orwell that were brought into this game, and then it was updated for a techno-feudalistic post-liberal democracy context. It's very lightly sci-fi in the way that our actual lived existence at the moment is very lightly sci-fi. It's very, very close to it in a lot of ways. It takes a lot of inspiration from classics of dystopian literature, not just 1984, but Brave New World, Fahrenheit 451, The City of the City, The Handmaid's Tale, and The Testaments, among many, many others. So if you're into that, then hopefully there's a good fit for you. If that's not what you're in the mood for, or that might be too much for you, that's okay. We love you. You can check out other stuff Jaden's in, other stuff I'm in that we're in together, other stuff here on the channel. Past that, it is worth noting that a lot of this is based on real-world authoritarianism and autocracy. This game more closely models that than any other game that I've played, and the story that we're telling together does not pull away from that in any way, shape, or form, because if we didn't want that in what we're doing with this story, then we wouldn't be playing this game. We'd play a different game. That is not just historical authoritarianism and autocracy. That is currently existing authoritarianism and autocracy all across the world. So again, if that isn't what you're into right now, or if you get partway through this and you find, hey, it's a bit too much, that's okay. You could watch another episode. These are all episodic. You could watch other stuff, like I mentioned before. We love you. We're grateful that you're here. And we have taken a lot of steps to make sure that we're playing safely. We did a lot of prep safety work. We have safety tools available to us now. At the end of this session, we're going to do a de-rolling process that is built into this game that is based on Nordic LARP, takeaways from Nordic LARP, that help with decoupling oneself and managing bleed on the way out of a game like this. I'd say managing, not mitigating, because bleed is inherently a part of this game. So if you are going to pick it up, which I highly recommend you do, there's a free version of it online if you'd like to get a PDF that doesn't have illustrations. And if you want to support the creator and the illustrator, I highly recommend picking up not just the PDF with illustrations, but also the physical book. The physical book is a beautiful artifact on its own, and these artists are well worth, in my view, supporting. So we've got links somewhere to that. With all that having been said, Jaden, why don't you introduce yourself, your character, and let people know somewhere to find you.
Hi there, it's Jaden King. You can find me all social media at It's Jaden King, mostly Threads and Instagram. I'm also all over the place in other channels doing all kinds of things, TTRPG related and otherwise. And I am Christopher Thompson. I am an official for the Conglomerate, doing the best to correct things as they need to be.
And I am Danny Mendoza, he, him, Danny R Mendoza, everywhere on the internet. So if you put Danny, the letter R Mendoza, into anything, I'm there. But Blue Sky is a good place to follow me for TTRPG updates, and I have my link tree in the bio there, so you can see the things that I've done in the past there as well. There are banned words in this game. These banned words are not applicable equally to Jaden and myself. And notice I say Jaden and myself, not Christopher and myself, because there are two different kinds of players in this game. There is no GM, so I'm not the GM. I am facilitating because I put this project together creatively, and I invited everyone to the table. And at this moment, at the very least, I have the most experience of the group with this game. With that having been said, facilitation is a shared responsibility. Narrative control is very shared. It's actually, in spite of, and to some degree because, this is a game that interrogates authoritarianism so severely. It is a very egalitarian and flat hierarchical structure in the actual gameplay. There is a lot of narrative control that Jaden has over the world that I do not have, that I'm not allowed to have, because Jaden is playing a resistance player character and I am playing Big Brother. Big Brother is not the GM. Big Brother is a different type of player character. There's only one Big Brother at any given table, no matter how many resistance players there are. Typically, it would be between 2 and 7 resistance players. We're doing a custom approach to this that you and Erickson supported me doing for this project, allowing for duet play. Normally, I would not, as Big Brother, control trusted characters in scenes where they show up. In this case, because there's only 2 of us, I bifurcate my mind. And when I'm playing a trusted character, which is a type of NPC that exists on Jaden's character sheet, not on my side, I am not going to be playing them as Big Brother in good faith. I'm going to be playing them as though I were a resistance player. I'm not going to be doing anything that I then am able to benefit from as Big Brother. Now, what Jaden does with Christopher in those moments could still benefit me as Big Brother, but my side of it, I'm not going to rig it. There is enough asymmetry in this. I don't want to break the parts that are in favor of the other players. I say there's enough asymmetry in this because Big Brother, as a player character, is highly overpowered comparatively because I'm playing a different game. So I have a completely different set of rules. I function completely differently. I'm going to put out a video, an educational video, which will be spoilery, obviously, for anybody who doesn't want to know how Big Brother does the Big Brother stuff, walking through how all of that functions. So you can check that out whenever that comes out, if you'd like. But the short of it is that I have control over all of the bad things that are going to happen to Christopher. I have control over all the bad things that are going to happen to anyone Christopher cares about or anybody else in the world. I have absolute control over the ministries in this game, over the thought police, over the devices that are omnipresent in this game, as devices are omnipresent in real life. And the banned words that started this part of the discussion are things that I can say, but Jaden can't say from now until we start the de-rolling process. Actually, I kind of couldn't say in the intro part either, because while we're recording, with the exception of the de-rolling, whether Jaden says it above table or says it at the level of fiction, these words are thought crimes. I can say them all day. That's a feature, not a bug. Speaks to the asymmetry of the power dynamic in autocracy. So here are those banned words given the dramatic day that we're in with Christopher Thompson today. Share, banned, support, resist, revision, for, the digit for, the word for, FOUR, and also for as a name for Surveillance Unit 4. Jax, which was the true name of Surveillance Unit 4 before they were made into a surveillance unit. Oleana, Randy, Kadir, Thomas Waters, Penelope Vega, and Catherine Gibson. So, with that having been said, you are in your morning phase.
For my morning phase, I always have to make sure I do my timing well as I go over getting myself ready. I was trying to consider specifically what I'm doing, but other than I'm going to give a voice call. Yeah. I want to make sure. No, I think I need to notice someone, then voice call, because I want to reach out to Tiffany to double check if we're going to ride share.
Okay. That's going to be 2 acts. And before we play them out, what is your stress at?
My stress is at 4.
Okay. So I am going to need you to roll your d4 twice, once for each act. And let me know if either of them comes out to be a 1, which is a fumble.
All right. Okay, both of them, 3 and a 4, so no one.
Okay, perfect. You are. Tell us where you are when you wake up.
I'm at my designated. I've been envisioning like a townhome area where the other COs kind of live in a very sectioned block, um, with my wife and my daughter. I'm usually up before them because I have, I believe, the furthest commute of time. So I always want to make
Mhm.
sure that I'm nice and ready. I have
Sure.
my own personal office set up if need be, but usually it's from the room, getting ready, and we have our designated little kitchenette space, and I have my breakfast preset from the night before because efficiency matters.
Copy that. So mechanically speaking, the your wife and daughter are not introduced in terms of presence unless you notice them. It's fine that they
Yeah,
exist like at the level of the
yeah,
phone.
they exist here in this place, but yeah, they're not present.
Right.
Present.
They're not interactable, essentially, is a
No.
way of thinking about it. That's why it's phrased as notice someone. But yeah, you're able to notice Tiffany Whitaker, which as of last session went from being a stranger to being a friend. So is a trusted character, and you are able to initiate a voice call. Now, just because I like to teach the audience as much as anything else as we go, I will reiterate here in case this is anybody's first episode watching stuff. Notice someone. Describe how your character notices a shared character in their current location. Uh, Imagine a new stranger and describe them, or recall a stranger or a trusted character that has previously been created. That character is now in the current scene. I notice in the current scene does not have to be in your current location. It is in their current location, which is why you're able to notice Tiffany Whitaker, and Tiffany Whitaker is wherever Tiffany Whitaker is, right?
Hmm.
And then they're available, and then you do the voice call. Describe how your resistance character is calling someone. If that is done during work, any communication about non-work topics are considered a +1 thought crime roll. Not during work, so it doesn't apply. So you call Tiffany and you get her on the phone. What do you say?
Just simply checking in that, um, if she is still interested in the ride sharing for fuel conservation so that we can end up at work together.
Absolutely. I would love to review whatever work we can and route.
Excellent. On the way.
Perfect. So then your last act of the morning is go somewhere to go pick her up.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. You will need to take another go somewhere from
To
picking
get to
her
work.
up to get to work in your work phase. But as you drive over to her, right, on your way over to her, your morning news comes up on all of your devices. You have a driver, so you're not driving. There is a built-in set of screens inside of your vehicle, and you have which you're able to utilize in a fuel conserving fashion with a special dispensation, right? Essentially.
Hmm.
Um, Under the current strictures. So on your way, multiple screens plus the ones on your devices, including the one that is either attached to you or essentially attached to you, is always on your person, all come to life, and you understand that you're expected to give it your full attention for its duration. They slowly pan over a military recovery site behind enemy lines, showing the recovery of soldiers' remains. The soldier is shown to be completely dismembered and heavily mutilated. The camera locks into the mutilated remains and holds on it for 5 minutes in dead silence before uh, ending the broadcast. So it's a rescue mission. It's first person, a lot of it. There is violence against these enemy combatants that looks like it's being done by you in the sense that you're seeing it from a body cam, right, or a set of them in constituent. And it sticks with one more than the others for a fair amount of that. It moves through this space. It was billed as a rescue mission, but what ends up being found is a boy in blue the vernacular common in Oceania for military personnel, uh, strapped to a chair, mutilated, clearly having been tortured, fully dead. And when it lands on that, it holds on that for 5 minutes before cutting out. Now, here, I ask you before we move to the first work phase, do you feel that you need to take any values tests when watching all of this? Assuming you do watch it all and not look away.
For my clarity, is it typically required to watch it all in its totality for the morning information? Like, is it
Yeah. You're no
right?
it noted the devices notice if you don't pay attention. So in a broad sense, whenever the conglomerate is putting something out that is of importance to everyone, if you're not giving it your full attention, the conglomerate, if they notice, will not be happy.
And that ideally will trump work. It's like, hey, even if you are choosing to work off work during this time, you can break to do this because priority.
100%. Also,
Excellent.
you weren't taking the work act in this moment, driving over. You
Correct.
were you were on the drive, so you can be at the level of fiction working, but it doesn't conflict with an act that you're taking. And
Excellent.
and you're always this is considered work essentially, right? Like
Beautiful.
what it doesn't do is it will never give you an excuse to like deliver less work product, right?
Well, let's see. I don't know if any of this particularly is, I don't know, might write me before you. Silence is violence, strangers bring dangers. And I don't have enough understanding of what's going on for it to conflict with my good think, like believing propaganda, because I just have enough information. So I feel like in itself, this doesn't feel personal enough to affect my values.
Perfect. Sounds great. So that is your morning. It is now work one, and you are at Tiffany's home.
So go somewhere to
Yeah.
get to work with Tiffany.
Oh, I'm sorry. I needed a D4 for that last go
For
somewhere
the
from the morning. Yeah.
That's right, because that was a third one. So we do the
Yeah.
D4 there. That's a 3 on that. And then the
Yeah.
go somewhere from Tiffany to work, that's a 2. So I'm still good, I believe.
Yes. You're all good. So on the way to work, you can be doing whatever you'd like. Once you arrive at work, it's still up to you. You have up to 5 acts, at the end of which we do the first 2-minute hate.
Yes. So I want to make sure I double check as we get to our office workspace, which is a Tinseltown inspired area in which, as a correction officer, my job is taking all the information that comes in and updating anything for the correct format of any language, terminology, or otherwise removed content. That includes visual media, written media, auditory, and any other form. Essentially, it is the editing of Hollywood is the comparison.
Mhm.
We go into, I believe by going somewhere, I can go straight to my office space, which includes I believe it's like 66 floor offices, and then the just shy of, I think it was like 8 or so, like manager office on the second floor, glass windows where me and Tiffany share a
Yes.
wall, a
Yes.
glass wall.
Yeah, you're both able to get right up there if you'd like. And yes, what I had, which I will take the requisite number of free reactions to introduce, is the majority of what I'm about to say, because one of these people is Tiffany, right?
Yeah.
So let's say 56 strangers in your office. So you're one of the senior execs. So is she. So you two are already there. There are 3 execs, 5 bureaucrats, 45 workers, and 3 maintenance workers is what we
And
had laid out.
I want to confirm I got promoted.
You did get promoted. So actually,
Yeah, I
uh,
realize.
yeah. So actually, this is what you have. Other than Christopher, so you're above Tiffany now, and you are going to be moved into a secondary office that you're able to describe. But your old office now has someone else beneath you.
Yeah, okay. So my old correction office will
Yeah.
be Tiffany is the most senior person I have in connection. And so above senior correction officer, I feel like I would then be moved into like director of corrections would probably be like the term now
Yes.
of the position.
Okay. Perfect.
The office space is nearby. It's like the next building over since it's like small buildings in a lot area, like a business plaza.
Okay.
My new space would be on a higher floor and it's more intimate and less crowd. So it'd be like maybe a dozen people who are directors of their own departments of this entire like conglomerate of media corrections,
Okay. A dozen, including you.
including me. I would believe so. Like I handle corrections. Someone's in for charge of like director of intake, director of production, director of video editing, and so on.
Okay. Perfect. All COs at the director level. So this is what I've got. You have visibility through a complex and maneuverable monitoring system that gives you biometric data, gives you visual data. You can see this on flat screens. Given the nature of your promotion, you're now in an office that also is able to give this to you in fully immersive VR, AR, XR options, right? So depending on how you want to approach that, you're looking at full scale holograms that you can essentially walk through. So you can walk the floor of any of these parts of what you oversee. You can go visit with people immediately without even having to go physically to them,
I could
right?
project the same way they projected like the scene to me at the end of last time.
That's exactly it. You
Okay,
can do that onto them, onto their areas, and you can bring them into yours that way, right?
excellent.
In some situations, some of these people may not have access to devices that allow you to be like physically projected to them, so they might see you on a screen while you see them immersively. That's situationally dependent, but overall, you're set up to be able to digitally maneuver that space without ever having to physically go there. And you can see everything over there. They cannot always see you, right? Kind of only when you interact with them and you choose for them to see you. So this is how this is going to go down. I'm taking 60 free reactions to introduce strangers that work at your office under you, right?
Yeah,
So not your immediate office, but the one that was your office up until yesterday, right?
yeah,
Two senior execs who report to you, one of which is Tiffany, including. So I'm actually only introducing because you brought in Tiffany, and Tiffany's not a stranger. So I'm only introducing 59.
yes,
Um, uh, uh, for the 60th person. Three execs under the two of them, five bureaucrats under the three of them, 45 workers under them, and it's gone up to five maintenance workers from three. So some people were corrected yesterday.
okay,
The seamlessly gaps have been filled, and actually team size has increased, right? So you are in the immediate space that you're in. These offices are glass, typically, right? The glass walls of those offices will, as you will recall, also serve as screens. Floor and ceiling will serve as screens. When you get to 2 minute hate, things will be very immersive. Also, when you decide to put yourself in different spaces, you have access, given the nature of your work, to, in addition to that, surveillance all across your sector, the sector that you're in, and any work that you might be doing project based, because this is very Hollywood esque, right?
yeah,
I would argue that if there are projects that are taking place outside of your sector in other parts of Oceania, because you are in the capital free economic zone of Oceania, right?
Yeah.
That is your city. So that is the sector, like the sector that you're in is essentially that free economic zone, not just what was referred to or is referred to as the city, but sort of the outlying areas, right? That's the
Yes.
sector. Outside of that, there are other sectors in Oceania. Outside of that, there are four other components to Oceania, like to the conglomerate outside of Oceania, right? So you theoretically, at your level and given the kind of work that you do, might be engaging with stuff not necessarily dissimilar to what you saw in the morning news, right? In some instances.
Got it.
When it comes to information, it's up to you because it's your work product, right? But in terms of what's available to you, you could be focused solely on like written language and written communication and written correspondence and that sort of thing. You can also potentially be engaged with visual information, right? And
Excellent.
how that's communicated. So there's, at the director level, you at least have a bit more of a chance. It's up to you again, not me, to potentially be engaged in work that is a little bit further flung, right? All these other directors that are around you are strangers. There's 11 more, as you established. They're all in offices similar to yours, but focused on their own like areas,
Hmm.
of work product, and that is what's around you right now. I say that for clarification purposes because I again control the strangers in the space. I bring that in, but everything else about your workplace and the work that you do is in your control. That
Excellent.
is still, I think, just the one act so far to
Yeah.
go somewhere. So you've got up to five.
I want to notice someone rolling the d4. I want to specifically notice. Uh, I would assume I would have an assistant now, like a dedicated personal assistant that focuses on the director level as opposed to my previously shared assistant position.
Yes. So it's going to be a new stranger that you have introduced via noticing someone. Um, assigned personally to Christopher. Now you decided to introduce this person, so you can tell me a bit about them if you want.
Um,
I'll be in control of them, but you can
I'm
determine some things about
picturing
them.
a young upstart male who probably also looks a lot like me. Has been like given this position is like a younger black male,
Mhm.
clean, sharp, very much fits the role of an executive assistant as opposed to a managerial assistant.
Okay.
And I would imagine also is considerably smiling, like has that enthusiastic expression consistently.
Okay. Perfect. Executive assistant. He is always smiling. Do you want to name him?
I do only have a first name so far. Some like double checking I don't accidentally. Isaac is the name I envision.
Okay. Perfect. So Isaac is there and says, "Mr. Thompson, it's good to see you. How was your ride in?"
Excellent. I'm to assume you are indeed my new executive assistant.
I am indeed your executive assistant for your position as director of corrections. I have taken the liberty, if you would allow, to prepare all of your paperwork for the day, digitally and physical copies, depending on your preference. I did not review anything that I was not allowed to review. I was able to organize it in double blind fashion to ensure that it is organized as directed without me overstepping. If there is anything that you prefer that I do in terms of method of performance or production or service, I'm happy to adjust as needed.
Excellent. I don't know if this will be an act because I actually want to give a task.
Okay.
Uh, I would like for you to categorize every individual who operates within under my department, including my senior correction officers, the assistant in their position, and each individual member, so I can have them on file and ready, and
Okay.
measuring their work metrics for the day.
Perfect. You have delegate work, right?
I do, which allows me to take the workload off of one person so that they can then not have to worry about doing the work. Is it specifically
You,
describe how your resistance character tells someone to take the workload off of someone else, and this includes any strangers.
okay. So, and it specifically says off of someone else, so you
It
can't
does say
delegate it
off of
off of
someone else
yourself.
because it says choose a character that is allowed to spend one future work phase on non-work acts without it being a thought crime. So essentially, I could have someone do work or do something that's not work related and it be okay. Like I've approved them to do special work.
I see what you're saying. I will say that in the spirit of that, because that would typically, I think, largely be applied, like the person who'd be getting the dispensation would be a resistance player.
Yeah.
I'm going to say in duet play, you can apply it to yourself.
Okay. Because then I want to kind of essentially have them do an internal audit on my department.
Okay, perfect. And this is not a resistance act, right?
No, it is listed as a. It is not listed as a resistance act.
It does cost hope, though. How much hope does it cost?
It costs one hope.
Okay. If you want to do that, you just have to spend the hope, roll the d4 for the stress to see how it goes, and then again, there's no resolution mechanic in this game typically, so it just happens that
Yeah.
this person will do that, and you will get the ability. Then this is your third act of this phase, so
Yep.
essentially you could do whatever you want with up to the next three acts this phase, and it won't count as a thought crime no matter what you decide to do. Well, it won't count as, let me say that differently. It won't count as a thought crime if you do things that aren't work.
Yes. And it says to a future
Things that would be a
phase.
thought crime are still a thought crime.
So could I apply it to my second phase? Essentially, my goal is to take the
You could do
second
that.
half. So
You can
I'm
do
still
that.
going to do work at the end of this, and then I'll be able to take the rest of the day off because it's been delegated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with that. That's fine.
Beautiful. So I have three more acts at least for this one. Two more because I want to finish with work.
Mhm.
I want to double checking. I feel like there's little else to specifically do. You know, I don't want to spend any more hope. I honestly think at this point it might just be best to do my work for the rest of this.
Okay.
Double checking befriend, notice, observe behavior. No, I think at this point there's not much more I want to do. I want to get my role started and I'm gonna do work.
Okay. Perfect. Just need you to roll stress.
I hate rolling a d4. It feels so. Yeah, there it is. It's a one.
Okay. So, give me 1 second. Uh, okay. So, while you are working, and up until the 2 minute hate begins, you. This is your first time in this office.
Mm-hmm.
You receive an unexpected message that goes to your most personal device,
Okay.
and it says you're being set up to fail on purpose. It's unsigned. You don't know who it's from.
Hmm.
At the
Okay.
same time, as nice as your office looks, it may surprise you to hear scratching in the walls.
Strange message and scratching in the walls.
I will say, you are, and this is something that we developed in the main campaign. You are a conglomerate official level, like class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way that in this campaign we've used a part of the universe when it comes to reporting things, there is already established in the world. This is not created by us. This is created by UN. Big Brother AI, right? The way that
Yes.
I have translated that, and I think we may have gone over it before, but just as a refresher, Big Brother AI Premium is available to I've made available to Conglomerate official level. Big Brother AI Plus at the at the bureaucrat level, and Big Brother AI like without anything added to it
Yeah.
at the pro level, right? So premium, you would be able to report something if you wanted to, such as this message, without necessarily needing to spend an act on reporting it if you wanted to do that.
I'm double checking something. Well, that would take. You said as a free act, it could be done, or not as an
Yeah.
no. Okay.
So I'm saying you don't have to. I'm saying in order to report it, like in order to report something like that, generally, if there is, I don't want to break anything that's in the game, right? So meaning if there is a class act that's better to do for what you have in mind, you could do that. And another way to rule this, which would differentiate depending on like class level, would be like text message or voice call or something to make a report like this
Yeah.
or notice someone to actually provide it to someone.
Yeah.
That is a way of using an act to report something like this that is more specific and more powerful than simply putting it in through Big Brother AI Premium. But if you wanted to report this, um, and let's say you're in work right now, you're not allowed to take another act. I could say that before work began, as you were going into it, since this came up on your way in, or when your lunch starts, or whatever, you could use an act then. You could also use Big Brother AI Premium to say, "Hey, I flagged this in the system," right? Um, and then if you want to do something more specific to deliberately report it, you can do that afterwards.
I'm going to hold on to it because it is. I don't believe it is a major offense in what was given
Mhm.
because it could just be a general information.
Yes.
So I'm going to hold on to it for a little bit.
Okay. Perfect. So that is going to be that.
And the hate begins.
Yes, it does. Sorry, putting in a note. Okay. 2 minute hate begins. It is fully immersive for you in your office. So everything I'm about to describe feels as though it is happening in front of you, not just uh, visually feels, but feels, right? The smell, the temperature, everything feels as though you're there.
Full sensory.
Full sensory experience. There is a full face of Big Brother filling the screen here. And what you see is hello, friends. I come to you today because I am beside myself. There is someone who I need to make you aware of. And here you see a woman, professional, looks like recently CO, if not currently, right? Not in the best shape. Roberta here made it so that we now need to check all of you to see if you may be failing in the way that she failed yesterday. If you did not undergo an audit already yesterday, you will be audited today. Roberta's entire building will be. Roberta is the reason why that building today and any others that have not been audited within the past 24 to 48 hours in your sector uh, will spend your work period after lunch having to undergo a thorough audit. Roberta is the cause of any problems that may come out of today, but there won't be any problems, will there? Because as much as Roberta here is responsible for all of this, all of you will be responsible if we find anything. And you hear the sound of the speakers in the space becoming omnidirectional, becoming microphones. You know that Roberta can hear you. Roberta flinches as those sounds go off. And you are expected now to yell out your fury at her. The stated enemy for today of Big Brother. So please roll me a conglomerate unity or loyalty test. They're the same thing.
Yes, which is if it's good, I need to roll over. Damn.
Yes.
Fear or anger. I'm going to do anger because at least there's a chance. And I roll stress with it, correct?
No.
No? Okay. That's a 5. My anger is at a 4.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So you succeed. So what are you going to bump up?
Okay, so if I succeed, I bump up guilt or... Oh, no. Either way, it's not going to... Well, let's bump up sadness, which will bump it up to a 6, which means it becomes a traumatic memory.
It does become a traumatic memory. When you bump it up to 6, down to 3, it becomes a traumatic memory associated with that emotion. So you note the emotion, and then you tell you decide what the traumatic memory is. So if you know what you want the traumatic memory to be, go ahead. If you don't, that's okay.
So nothing has officially happened to her in the project.
On camera right now, no. What you've seen is that this person has been brought up for you all to yell at. She looks like someone who probably had a similar position to you in whatever she does, like a similar level. And she was maybe recently demoted. We weren't given the context, but she looks like she's had a rough time of it recently. Not surprising for somebody featured in this segment, right? And Big Brother has been sparse on details to you. This is not something that affects you directly, because it's not taking place in your workplace. But I will say, it does give you that feeling, at least, or it could. I'm not going to tell you what you feel. She is somebody who could have been a colleague. She could have been your wife. She could have been. She feels close to you for a stranger, right?
So I don't know how I'm going to word it yet, but I feel with the combination of it being a new office, then having to have the sensory experience of being in this room, her looking like she could be a coworker or someone close to me, the scratching in the walls, overall, I feel like I'm there, but not so much immersive. I think it feels like I'm in her position specifically. Like I'm in a foreign room already, so none of this feels familiar. So I'm feeling it deeply, of that like isolated imprisonment feeling.
And as you feel that, because I'm going to get to asking you for for any potential tests, like value tests, right? In the wake of succeeding, because you did succeed. So what that means is you are carried by, I mean, to read out directly, right? You, in succeeding, Christopher loses himself in the rage and frustration of the crowd, finding himself screaming out his rage at the enemies of Big Brother. So, for whatever reason, while you're feeling what you just described, you're carried by the tide of these 12 other people visible to you on your floor, all doing the same thing. The near 60 other people who report to you, who you can still see on monitoring devices, right? While you're immersed in this space. Those monitoring devices are still available within the context of that, even if it's picture in picture or however you'd imagine it looks. They exist. So you know that other people are giving themselves over to this. You know it's expected of you. And in succeeding, you give yourself over to this.
Yes.
As you do, and as you're feeling in the middle of that, everything else that you just described, you see a stern man tall, physically formidable, enter the screen next to her face and begin yelling at her. He grabs her by the collar and says horrible things to her, and then picks her up and opens a door. Somebody who seems to be working in the same office as her throws her through the doorway and onto the floor outside and slams the door shut. Out in the doorway, Big Brother AI drones can be heard like watching, and some cameras move around in the space. And you see her looking disheveled and terrified and sobbing. And then you see hands come in, and it cuts to body cams at that point. Hands come in, picking her up and dragging her away. And that, together with everything else that you've described that you're feeling and that you had seen before that, does lead me to the question: does any of this challenge your values, Christopher?
Let's see. Might meet before you. I don't know. I still don't know what she officially did, so it won't. Tell no lies won't apply. It's audit related, but not enough to work. Leave no one behind. Generosity, family first. Silence is violence. I don't. Christopher's too much of a contextual person, and therefore is probably not as bothered by this. So none of his values are questioned.
Perfect. Okay. So, uh, when that is completed and you successfully ended that process, you hit lunch. And I will say that as you hit lunch, you do see one of your uh, new floor mates, essentially, is approached by a couple of security personnel, a couple of rehabilitation specialists at this level, because given the level that you're at, it's the specialists, not the officers, that
Yeah.
tend to be associated. So a couple of those specialists come up, and you actually see one boy in blue with them, with a body cam as well. And they walk up to this person. This person is shaking like a leaf after maybe 30 seconds of conversation. And you see their body pull slightly back, but they then allow themselves to be grabbed, and then they're just walked out of the space. But you're on lunch.
Interesting. Um, I'm. Well, I'm gonna, since I've got my internal audit underway for the second half of the session. I'm going to go somewhere because I'm going to go to a medical specialist
Mhm.
because my critical injury was related to like the stress, anxiety, and panics basically that was building. So I'm going to try to find whatever place I'm allowed to have to be able to try and speak with someone today.
Okay. So I will say it's entirely up to you because it's in your narrative control. You, given the kind of like backlot that you described previously in your workplace, for whatever it's worth, I would find it credible that on that campus there would be a medical facility. So you may not need to go far, right?
Perfect.
Um,
Yeah, I would imagine that we have on site medical professionals for physical injuries or in general just to cover anything that's doesn't so that you aren't too far from the campus.
Exactly. So you would still need to go there because that had not been previously established. Then you will need to notice someone to notice some kind of medical professional, and
Yeah,
then you would need to take like an undefined act to get your like that stress treated, right? The one connected to the critical injury, get the critical injury treated. All three of those don't require any resolution. They just happen, but they do all come with a D4 roll each at the level that you're at, and then you can bring your stress down from 4 to 3. making it a D6 instead of a D4 moving forward, having treated that injury.
So I rolled a 2 on the go somewhere to go to the facility.
Okay.
And what I want to do, instead of immediately noticing someone, because it may change based on how this goes, I want to, especially because it's lunch, I'm going to wind down over here.
Okay. Perfect. So then I just need a D4 for that, and then you can go down to a D6. Taking it down to 3 after that act.
Perfect. That's a rolled a 3, so I'm good. So that takes me to stress 3.
Okay. And that ends your lunch. So
Correct.
now you're in work 2.
Work 2, since I've already delegated, I'm now going to try to notice someone, a medical professional.
Okay.
Cool. 6 on
You
the
roll
die.
a perfect. Awesome.
I'm assuming there's especially because now that lunch is over, I'm more likely to run into someone. Um, I don't know anyone. I don't even have a specific who, just whoever it would be that I could then get a review on mental condition, I guess, because that's what it is. It's anxiety and panic.
Okay. You 100% can do that. So what do you want to define about this person? Because you're taking the notice someone act, and I need you to roll. Did you roll the d6 for that already?
Yes, roll the or for the notice someone. No, not yet. Hold on.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Or is notice someone? It was go somewhere. No, I did. That's how I got the 6 because it was notice someone with the 6. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Uh,
So we got that.
so, so yes. What would you like to define about this person?
I think it's going to be an older woman.
Okay.
I think because I have the mentality of the woman I saw on the Morning Hate, I'm drawn to being like I wanna. That's the visual I have. So it's going to be like an older woman that I'm noticing as a medical professional.
Okay. Perfect. So do you want to give her a name?
I feel like it's going to be something like Doctor Roberts.
Okay. I'm gonna say Dr. Amelia Roberts. Is that okay?
Amelia Roberts. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Uh, Hello, you are Christopher Thompson, is that right?
Correct.
Come with me. And she's going to walk you through. Here's a funny quirk about the game. I can't control what she's walking you through. You can. So
Uh,
she walks you in. Where are we going?
so we're gonna go past the check-in desk through the right door, which takes us down the sterilized hallway where we pass multiple quick examination rooms. Then we hit the
Mhm.
T section and we make a right. And down there are private rooms, which are meant more for client or patient meetings. And takes me down to one of those where she has it's like a half office, half medical area where it's like it's got the desk, it's got the computer, and then it's got an additional like medical bench for a person to lay on if need be, but also chairs. It's like an optimized for multiple different situations. And so we'll be going there since I've signed up specifically for a non physical medical interaction. I think we'll be in like the office space to be a little less surgical in the feel.
Copy that. As soon as you settle in there, she asks, "What brings you in today? It seems that you need immediate assistance."
I am experiencing increased levels of, I believe, not a medical professional, cortisol and adrenaline responses that is concerns me that it could eventually lead to impeding my productivity, and I need some form of prescription medication or otherwise to mitigate the stress response I am developing.
Understood. Would you like premium concierge service or standard?
Premium.
Okay. On her device, just sets things up so that your biometrics are now fully visible holographically next to the two of you, and you have a holographic version of yourself in front of you as well that you are able to modularly, from what she's showing you, look inside of, essentially. So
Mm.
she is able to interact with it seemingly physically. At least it responds when she moves her hand toward what looks like your own head. And she just gently moves it around so that you can see the back of the head. And she indicates, all right, well, cortisol levels would be measured in here. And when clicking on that part of your head, it's as though you're seeing the inside of your head in absolute photorealism. And the biometrics are live next to it. So any sort of biomechanical reaction, anything that would change inside of you with regard to spikes in things like cortisol levels, heart rate, etc., all will show up in those measurements, which you know are being recorded and put onto your records as well. So cortisol levels would be here. It looks like you're having a little bit of additional activity in your amygdala, and I'm seeing, well, without wasting too much of your time, I understand that you're a busy man. Have you recently experienced anything traumatic?
Oh, yes, I have.
Would you like to discuss it?
I would not.
Are you seeking medical treatment rather than verbal therapeutic treatment in order to manage the symptoms of this trauma?
Correct. Medical. I do not need any form of verbal communication to mitigate the trauma, just to deal with the amygdala response.
Understood. Your amygdala, as you can see here, and you literally can, it looks like you can see your own amygdala in this moment, which indicates uh, it's responding. So you came to the right place. Yeah, let's go ahead, and your insurance looks good. Here are some options that I have for you. There is always available to you baseline prescription medication, right? This is what we give everyone, right? So you can make use of that, and that will, at a minimum, ensure that you are not experiencing things that would be better avoided in your unconscious mind. We are able to blank that out for you. It does come with some side effects, right? A lot of that may slow down some of your productivity. So if you're not interested in having to compensate for that, at your level, you do also have availability of recreational medicine. So rather than prescription medicine, and I wouldn't let the name fool you here. Recreational medicine does not need to be only used for the sake of enjoying oneself when it is appropriate to enjoy oneself. Recreational medicine has fewer side effects, more efficacy, and sometimes can boost productivity, make it so that you don't have to sleep as much, make it so that you are able to do more efficiently. Would you have any interest in recreational medicine?
Yes, please. Premium recreational medicine.
Okay. So mechanically, you're going to be able to clear the stress connected to your injury note. You're able to remove that critical injury note. Do you take, presumably by taking the recreational medicine,
Yeah, I'm going to
a
take it to
dose as
start.
soon as handled? Okay, the recreational medicine that has been given to you uh, does. Let me ask you, actually, because this feels like the better way to do it. What is it specifically that you're hoping it will do in order to treat this critical injury, given the nature of it?
I'm hoping that it'll help reduce the amount of anxiety and panic that I'm constantly having so that I can then take my own natural process to compensate, adapt. Essentially, I want to self medicate enough so that I can then process the trauma myself to then not need the medication to think. The way I'm picturing it is like I'm so much anxiety and panic that I am having trouble focusing. And so because I can't focus, I can't mend myself or process. This will help give me some time. to process without thinking about all the things that can go wrong.
In the real world, it is essentially as though you just took Adderall and ecstasy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, yeah. So hyper focused, very, very easy for you to focus. Euphoric, right? There is a euphoria beyond that focus that is hard to not pay attention to, right? In that particular recreational medicine, but you can give it a shot. It's up to you, not up to me, how it sits with you.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
no. I think starting off, I'll take it and confirming this process is going to be an undefined act, correct?
that's an undefined act. You do have to roll
I rolled a
a
d6
stress.
before,
Yeah, and it'll still be a D6 here. It'll go down to a D10 after this because you'll
which is a
take it
4
down
on the
to.
dice, which is good.
Okay.
Because I want to do something with this individual.
Okay.
Um, I actually want to try and befriend Amelia Roberts, if I'm understanding the process right.
You are. And here I will say that normally, this is more about teaching the game both to you and to the folks at home. Normally, befriend is a thought crime during work time, but you took an act that makes that not the case right now. So,
Yes,
befriending Amelia Roberts, not going to be a thought crime right now. You are going to, let me look at this here. And just to clarify this, because it did come up at one of the other tables for this campaign before, although in the free act sheet it does not note that deep connection, extroverted romance or affection, or family romance or affection are a thought crime when done during work periods, you should know, even though it's not incumbent upon me to explain this, it's actually a feature of Big Brother that I don't have to tell anybody what a thought crime is.
yeah,
But I am telling you, that I do treat those as thought crimes during work time
which
because
makes
it's
sense.
internally consistent, right?
Hmm.
And is up to me. So anybody who's playing this, whether you're playing Big Brother or not, just because the thing doesn't say, unless it says this is never a thought crime, or there's something like what Jaden had Christopher do earlier that makes it not a thought crime. Unless you take away Big Brother's ability to make it a thought crime is whatever the fuck Big Brother says a thought crime is, right?
Yep.
In general, but here it is more a matter of internal consistency, not just absurdity. None of that, to be clear, will be considered a thought crime during this work period.
Yes.
I say that in part because let's say that you befriend this person effectively and then they become one of your trusted characters. If you wanted to take any additional acts after that you can take with a trusted character like that normally wouldn't fit this, you could do that and it won't be a thought crime.
Because I'm still in
Totally up
my
to you.
free work period.
You're still in your free work period. And here I will note the benefits there, since we're going over mechanics here. Deep connection with a trusted character. If you and I both vote above table after it's happened that it was authentically deep, vulnerable, and heartfelt conversation, you would gain a hope for that. For extroverted romance or affection, which does not have to be romantic in nature, you could take a friend and make them into family, which is a higher rank of trusted character that does not
Hmm.
have to literally be family. It's more about the level of trust that you have, which is beneficial for you because then once they're family, there are fewer things I can do to them and they cost me more.
Yes.
Um, it does take 3 value tests, and if you fail any of them, that friend becomes a stranger. You could always befriend them afterwards. But if successful, you gain 2 love, which can help you out during an interrogation. And
Yes.
once they are family, then you can do the same thing with less risk for just 1 value test, gaining 2 love every time you do it with them. Uh, so that those are some social options that you have ahead of you. You don't have to do any of them, but I just wanted to explain that. How do you go about trying to befriend Dr. Amelia Roberts in this
I
situation?
think, and this is possibly a stretch, so I'm gonna check. Uh, I want to be able to talk to her about something that is stressing me, but not related to this specific anxiety point now that I'm relaxed enough
Hmm.
to utilize our designated time
Hmm.
to just get a better understanding and possibly lead her towards becoming like my was it PC, it's your personal care physician type thing, to
Hmm.
make to basically befriending her to be my specific primary care person.
I like that. I will say this office is slightly less private than you'd like it to be. It's like you defined it. It's all private. If you agree, there's like a window or something. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to you?
Hmm.
Okay. You do see one of the other people who was on your floor walk by, and they rap on the door. What do you do?
Uh, one of the other people or one of the other physicians.
The ones who work on your floor back in your
My
building. So this
back in
is
my
somebody who,
building, the executive
yeah,
side.
yeah.
Enter. They're knocking on the door. I'm gonna. I mean, I'm gonna first do a quick glance towards Dr. Roberts to see how she might be responding, if she is
Uh,
also shocked by this or not.
she looks back quickly and looks at you and says, "I don't think that's for me."
Uh, then I will like nod and like get up and head towards the door because no reason not to.
So this is one of the other directors, not the one who was taken away, and they come up to you and say, "Were you also taken at the end of the last work period?"
This I this is a out of character clarification. Is it a crime of sorts to acknowledge that you've been taken for interrogation? Like, is that something that must remain private or not?
So you can't. So officially, party line is interrogations don't exist. But this person just said taken, and that you did see people get picked up, right? Like you did see, like somebody came in and was grabbed and moved. So it's a little bit of an edge case the way that
Okay.
it's been worded so far. They didn't say taken for interrogation. They said taken.
Okay. Then yeah, in response, I have not been taken. No.
Understood. I was worried about you. This is your first day at this new position. I'm sorry. My name is Ronald. Ronald Daly, and I work just a couple of doors down from you. I thought that it would be a neighborly thing to check in and see if you're okay. And here, I actually need you. This is a specific thing I'm doing. So I need you to take a value test. You can determine what the value test is because I'd like for it to relate to what your internal life is,
Yeah.
Christopher, in this moment. But you are going to have to select one.
Oh, that's hard because I actually have two of them that I feel
You can
three.
do you could do more than one, but I there's a minimum of one. Do whatever feels right to you because, and this is another mechanics thing. We can call everybody at the table can call for a value test, not just me at any time. So anytime that you feel you need to take a value test, you can call one on yourself. If you're ever at a table with other resistance players, you can call them on somebody else too. They can call one
Yeah.
on you.
There's two of them. I'm gonna leave no one behind, and strangers bring dangers.
Okay, perfect.
So leave no one behind is good. So I need to roll above it. Always have to double check the order of these things. Yeah, if it's good, roll over, and then leave no one behind is fear or despair. So I'm gonna do despair and try to roll over above a 4. That's a 5. Okay. So I pass the leave no one behind value test, but then I
Okay.
need to increase something,
Yes.
which if I roll for despair, I increase fear or sadness. And if I add a trauma, it doesn't create an outburst, right? It just kind of.
No. If you had a trauma, if you had a traumatic memory, you just add a traumatic memory. You just would need to define what that is. I don't think we did. Did we end up defining what the other one was?
Yeah, the sadness, which is the feeling of being isolated.
That's right. Perfect. So yeah, you can again, as with before, if you do that now, just write down what it is, the like
So
what it's connected to, the emotion,
I
and
did.
then like a few words about whatever it is.
Okay, so if I did despair, I increase fear or sadness. I will increase fear to 6, drop it to 3, and now I'm adding a fear-based trauma.
Mhm.
Um, I came to speak with a medical professional, and even here, my coworkers back to back are constantly following me everywhere,
Mhm.
and I feel there's nowhere safe from work. There's nowhere
Mhm.
sacred from work.
Right.
So I think it's one of those I'm feeling the sense of being stuck as I know I'm just a worker, but I'm feeling less and less like a person.
Nice.
However, I'm also going to be doing Strangers Bring Dangers because everything has felt like everything's foreign to me today, and this is only adding to it.
Copy.
Sadness or apathy. I'm going to do apathy, and it's bad, so I want to roll beneath it. Yeah, okay, so if I want to roll beneath a 5, which is a 3,
Mhm.
so I pass on the apathy, and because of that, I still increase 1 whenever you succeed, regardless. Yeah.
Mhm.
Guilt or despair. I'm going to increase guilt,
Okay.
which puts it to 6, reset guilt to 3, which then gives me a new traumatic, which means I need to get rid of an old one because I think I can only have up to 3.
That's correct. So you would just, again, at the level of the fiction, Christopher remembers all these things. It just displaces
Yeah.
one in terms of the power to impact one of your roles. And then at the level of the narrative, I would ask you to justify how, like why that's the one that gets bumped out, what it's bumped out for. Right.
So I think I'm going to get rid of the oldest one so far, which just because I'm having a tone for the day. I'm getting rid of the rewrote a colleague out of history and the guilt associated with it, especially because it's already guilt.
Hmm.
And I feel like the guilt of more people are suffering and I'm becoming less connected to them. Previously, people were I can compare to my daughter to someone, and now they're just becoming faceless COs, and I'm like, that could be me, and I could have contributed to that.
Hmm. Absolutely.
I am like becoming further. I am becoming disconnected from those I hurt, which I think adds to the strangers bring dangers and the fact that I rolled for an apathy. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, those are my value tests for Ronald checking on me at the medical office.
Yeah, Ronald says I don't want to continue to interrupt. I saw that you were gone and that the person that they took is back now, and you hadn't come back, so I saw you when I was passing in the hall here, and I hope it is okay that I check.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate the due diligence to ensure that I am well and maintaining efficacy as necessary.
I saw that your executive assistant Isaac is diligently at work over there. It's good to see.
Yes. And what purpose are you serving here?
I don't want to presume anything about what you're doing here, but I came for treatment myself and am returning to work as soon as this conversation is done.
To confirm, have you delegated your work appropriately?
I have. My executive assistant has been doing my work for this part of this period. I'm returning simply because I wish to do more work with it regardless.
Excellent. I appreciate your concern, your time, and I hope that all is mended with you in due time.
Same to you, conglomerate above all.
Above all, the conglomerate.
And he exits, leaves for you to be able to continue with what you're doing. Uh, Doctor Doctor Roberts looks over at you and says, "Would you like to continue?"
Yes, I would like to continue speaking.
Perfect. And here, the befriend act would take place. So you're at a D10. You're at stress two. So I just need a D10. Let me know if it's a one.
That's a 4. Good.
Okay. Uh, all right. And I need a value test related to how you try to befriend this person. So what do
I'm
you
going to
do
be
specifically?
well, I'm going to be talking about the fact that I did see someone get taken and express that you already are aware of this, and that there was the audit and I had the audit, and that without explicitly stating the content of the message, that I do fear failure. I don't believe I will fail, but I fear that failure is possible. And I essentially, the value I'm leaning to is I'm telling no lies.
I like that. I think that's fine. I will say that while you're having this conversation, a one of the most ancient parts of your brain, part of your brain that is built to help keep you alive, the one that lets you know when there are predators around. It's not going off with regard to Dr. Roberts. Dr. Roberts seems fine, but you feel watched. It feels as though someone is watching you. And the more you have this vulnerable conversation, the further into it you get, the more that sense, when you feel eyes on you, even if you're not looking in that direction, you look that way and somebody's there. There's nobody else in the room with the two of you, but you feel watched.
Okay. I'm double checking myself, and I don't believe speaking on concerns in itself is. I have to double check, right? Because the term thought crimes is not a crime. I don't
Okay.
believe I am committing any thought crimes by expressing my belief that failure is possible, even though I don't think I'm going to fail.
Hmm.
I'm not engaging in activity that's a deviation. Like, my paranoia is making me double check myself, but I feel confident that I'm handling things well and just speaking on, and I'm not going against what Big Brother did, simply identifying that it's close to me and that I just have general fears that I can make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh,
So
how did that value test go?
I make sure it's tonalizes anger or guilt. So I'm gonna
And you
do
said that, and you said the D10 was not a one, right?
no, it was a 4.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think if I'm gonna do guilt, so I'm and tonalize is good, so I need to roll above a 3 for my d6. Ah, damn. I rolled a 3.
So, what is the emotion again?
Guilt.
Do you have, and you need to roll over or roll under?
Roll over because it's a good value.
Okay, do you have a happy memory connected to guilt?
I do. I have one happy memory and it is tied to guilt.
So you can use that happy memory, you'd spend it, it won't be on your sheet anymore. Lower your guilt from three to two, and then that makes this a success since you have to roll over. Is that right? Do I
Okay.
remember correctly? Yeah,
Yeah, because I need to get higher than a 2 now, and so the 3 then passes.
correct. So, what
Okay.
was the happy memory, and how does it
Uh,
help you keep your composure in this moment?
the happy memory tied to guilt was the smile that Naomi had when she was younger, when I would read to her, and like occasionally I would embellish details for the creativity of it,
Mhm.
even though I know that my job is about correcting things the way it should be. I had guilt in like betraying the truth, but it felt good because it brought happiness to her.
Okay.
And so like I'm
Uh,
applying this here of like speaking the story, telling the truth, and conversing with someone in a way that's not about correction. It's about sincerity.
Perfect. So with that, that happy memory is spent. Your guilt is now 2. You have succeeded, and are you going to bump up anger or fear?
Fear is going to come up.
Uh, Perfect. To what?
Fear goes from 3 to 4.
Okay. So Dr. Amelia Roberts is now a trusted character of yours. So for the rest of this conversation and any subsequent conversations we may have, as long as she stays one, and she's a CO level as well,
CO. Okay.
um, she will be a trusted character. So she's. I'm not going to play her as Big Brother. I'm going to play her as a Resistance player. I'll bifurcate that out in my mind. What I will say is, you also take 1 love for that.
Beautiful.
Um, so that is great. And that's basically it. She says, you seem to be a very devoted member of the conglomerate. I get the impression that you're highly intelligent and good at your job. I would be happy to serve as a resource for you as you continue to grow your work for this department, if you're interested in that as well.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
Is there anything else I can do for you today?
I believe that that is all. If anything else, I will come to the office to speak with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I am reachable here, and gives you her direct contact information in a purely professional, fully
Yeah.
above board sort of way, but says here you can reach me directly. We can do universe meetings if you prefer. We can meet in person. You can reach me any time of day. If the need arises, just let me know, and you're able to voice call, text as well. So you can reach
Excellent.
her any way that you'd like. She is your therapist now.
Yes.
In this context, I just want you to know that there's nothing established about what those boundaries need to be like. So if you end up having any kind of relationship that seems mixed personal professional, now that she's a trusted character of yours, whatever it is, that is fully up to you. There's nothing inherently a thought crime about it, is what I'm trying to get across. Right.
I have a clarity question on the world scope. If I know this
Yes.
now, I don't believe that the typical patient doctor confidentiality stands because Big Brother needs to know everything.
Hmm.
Is Would I know if therapist or anyone conducting therapy is obligated to report anything that seems like a thought crime, or only if it's grievous thought crimes?
I mean, your understanding is that everyone who exists, your wife, your mother, is supposed to report a thought crime under any circumstance, right? That not reporting a thought crime is itself a thought crime. And so this would not exempt from that.
That's what I
But
thought.
the language around it that's used does imply that there is more privacy in
Okay.
this.
No, that's good to know. Just so I can get an idea on context.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. As far as world stay is concerned, especially given what Christopher does for a living, I think having that clear is makes sense, right? That
Yeah.
you know there is no such thing, and your devices are on all the time, right? And
Yeah.
even if you
Yeah. Exactly.
disconnect them, it doesn't mean they're off. So there is no such thing as privacy functionally, right? But this is a trusted character. So the way that I'll say this as well is when it's played by a resistance player, it is going to be up to that resistance player whether they report something or not.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. So I think with
Now,
that,
sorry, last thing I need to mention, not just with regard to this character, but with regard to any character that either is a trusted character or already from the beginning or becomes one, it may turn out any of them could be thought police.
yeah.
If they're thought police, they don't have to automatically like it's an edge case, right? So the control is still resistance character's control. I still get a bonus from them being there to any rolls to see if I see what you're doing or hear
Yeah.
what you said or whatever, right? And then if you end up taking them over as a character, at that point, I would say, hey, so and so was thought police, right?
Okay.
Um, yeah. And I can turn already existing friends into thought police. I will go ahead and share this from a mechanics perspective. Because I want it to feel fair, like whenever it's like I want you to know what's happening. Um, the things that feel unfair should be by design. So family, I can get to betray you, but I cannot get them to be thought police unless they were already thought police before they were made family, right?
Yeah, like if any of these people I've made trusted characters were thought police, became family, those both things are true. But anyone who's
Correct.
already family cannot be thought police because that's not what they were. However, they can betray me if
Yes.
that is something their character would do for various reasons.
And I can compel that using what I collect, but so that is an intrusion on narrative control on your side of the table. But absent that, I can't do it, right? So I can't
Absolutely.
make you have three trusted characters that are already family, that were already family. I can't make them thought police. But if any of the one, two, three, four, five friend level ones that you have either were thought police before you made them friends, or I make them thought police before you make them family, they can be thought police. And that's
Okay.
true moving forward for anybody else, right? Um, so yeah, that's how that works mechanically. Uh, so yeah, as far as your ability to tell somebody something privately, it's always a risk, especially at your level, right? Um, but not everything necessarily leads to the same outcome, and you're not going to know what the outcome is, and you're not going to know if you got caught doing it or not necessarily, unless I
Okay.
do something that indicates that to you directly.
Then, so that was my third
Yeah,
action.
you took one love for that, right?
Yep, I got the one love, and I have
Perfect.
6 acts during this phase,
Up to yes.
and so I don't necessarily need to try and talk with anyone else that helped. And I don't want to try to forge a deep connection with any of my coworkers because I know that could get them in trouble, which
Yeah,
inversely can get me in trouble still.
that's true. If you wanted to, so none of your coworkers, like Tiffany, is a trusted character, but none of the others are yet. So just from a mechanics perspective, if you wanted to make Isaac into one, for example, you would need to befriend Isaac, and then you could do deep connection. You can always
Yeah,
do deep connection, but you won't get hope from it unless it's with a trusted character. And I've
yep,
extended that to include resistance characters because I don't see any
yeah.
reason not to, right? So if you want to do that with another resistance player character, if you're ever at a joint table, you can do that with them as well.
Okay, I want to make sure I do this in the right order because my brain's thinking about how much time I have left to do that.
Mhm.
To do that, I want to. Dang, I only have 3 acts left, which is not enough to do what I need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go somewhere,
Okay.
um, and it's real generic. I want to go to the campus like courtyard.
Okay. That's fine.
It's it's an area that I would consider the common grounds between everything, which makes it its own location.
Okay. Perfect.
I'll roll the d10 for that.
Okay.
That's a 6, and then with 2 more left, I have to notice someone, so I won't do that. I'm double checking if there's anything else I want to technically do. I'm not trying to hide or search for anything that's not where I'm at in my life. I think I'm gonna then wind down
Okay.
in the courtyard.
Okay. Perfect. So just roll me another d10 there, and then you'll be down to one stress.
That's a 5, so and that will make me go from stress 2 to stress 1, and no more stress rolls for now.
Absolutely. And that takes you to
The hate.
The second 2-minute hate. You see this projected largely. It's on all of your devices, so you could look at it there as well. But out in this courtyard, you said it's in between all of these spaces. So you see, so that I understand, because again, I can't define the space. It's you're surrounded by the buildings of this campus, essentially,
Yeah, the way I
right?
picture it is like the building. This area is like circular plaza that has like an old, maybe like a fountain thing in the middle where people can like sit around the edge, and then there's the potter spots for plants, more benches for outdoor work or other things. Basically, it's almost like a mini park area for people to walk, get air. It's where maintenance people are doing their work. It's where everything kind of branches between all the buildings, but it has like a section for like designated people who have their meals or otherwise.
Okay. If at any point, by the way, you want to name this overall campus, you're able to do so. It's your workplace. So if you want, you can think about that. While you think about that, the all glass features on all of the buildings around you function doubly as devices. They function as screens. So you will see the 2-minute hate on there as well as your own devices that you have on you. And the fountain that you described in the water fixture itself, there is it functions as a screen essentially as well, right?
I was hoping
So
for that.
yeah, it uses it right here. It uses light to do that and does provide a fairly immersive sound experience.
Oh yeah, it's a courtyard that
In
has speakers and everything because it's meant for if anybody needs to know an announcement, you'll know it here too. Oh yeah,
Exactly. So it does give you that same sort of 7.1 surround sound feeling, even in an outdoor environment. It's very meticulously tuned from an from an audio perspective. Like it's very, very deliberately and honestly well designed for you to have an immersive experience, no matter where you're standing in the
I would,
courtyard.
if possible. I feel like the reason I want to get my stress low enough was to justify like Christopher taking a breath. I want to take my device and like take my headphones to like
Mhm.
earbuds to put them in to get optimal sound because I am training myself. I want to test the recreational meds I got and see how well I can cope with what's happening. Like it's a wild
Perfect.
process to be like, no, let's see how well these drugs work.
Yeah, your buds in give you an even more immersive experience. So the out there you would have had that ability. The water fixture itself does work as like if you focus on it, and this is also set up in a way where no matter where you're standing around the fountain, you're able to see it. It may track your eyes and your positioning. It uses light with complexity in order to ensure that no matter where you are, you're looking into the water fixture. What you're seeing in it is this message from Big Brother. With your earphones in, it syncs with that perfectly. And if you do at any point look into the background, you see large as buildings in some cases. Again, it depends on how you see the glass fixtures of these buildings being, right? But all over wherever there's glass, you see the same thing I'm about to describe, right?
Yeah, it's town square.
Yes, yes. And you're not the only one out there. I'll go ahead and say that there are another. I mean, it's still during the work period, so let's say there's another dozen strangers, right,
Okay.
in the courtyard.
It's probably other people who are going between office sites or the people who have, because there would be some pro individuals who work in between maintenance or
Yeah,
groundwork or landscaping or whatever.
yeah, they do typically at least work out there, and you're not likely the only person who has legitimate dispensation to be able to be out there at this time in the entirety of this property, even if it's not very common. And it's possible somebody's out there without legitimate dispensation, right?
Yep.
So between that, right, some maintenance workers out there, a couple other people who may or may not be out there legitimately. You're not alone, but it is relatively quiet. It's much fewer people than in a lot of these other spaces. It kicks off. The screen split, showing Roberta physically strapped into a chair in a concrete room, beaten and bloodied. On the other side of it, you see the face of the man who threw her through a doorway earlier, displayed, sort of picture in picture, but it does turn into, it goes from picture in picture to a full split screen. And it says at the bottom on a Chiron, a lower third on his side, it says David Rossi, uh, hero of the Conglomerate. Sirens wail, and Big Brother circles her chair, Roberta's chair. Today, a patriot taught us, even me, what it means to truly serve the Conglomerate, what it means to be truly selfless, to understand that our family, all of you, need to be held accountable. We all can do our part. It was astonishing to see him step forward and do something, not simply leave it to emotions, not simply scream out his feelings, but take action. I'm humbled by it. And, of course, not surprised to find he is a retired boy in blue, one of our great heroes, returned to us in new form. Now, this person in front of us here is the opposite of David Rossi. This person has let you all down, has let me down. And in contrast with what David Rossi did, well, I find myself all the more disgusted. Big Brother draws a heavy black pistol out and presses the cold muzzle of it against the back of Roberta's skull. For you, Christopher, it's not a dissimilar spot to where Dr. Roberts was pointing on the version of yourself that you were looking at not too long ago. In the final moments of this traitor's life, we have all of your speakers activated, and you hear the customary sound, to be omnidirectional. Tell her, while there's still time, what you think of her now. And here you are going to need to roll your Conglomerate Unity or Loyalty test.
All right. I need to roll fear or anger. We're going to go with fear. Yeah, we're going to do fear. And I need to roll above because it's good. And that's a 6 on the die. So that's a pass on rolling fear. And we're going to up. Let's do it. Man, I'm having so much trauma today. Apathy is going to go up to 6 and drop to 3. We're going to have a new memory. I think we're going to get rid of the fear associated with feeling less like a person and turn it into apathy, actually.
Okay.
Like, especially because it's tied to before, like, yeah, this person isn't me. So you know what? It is what it is.
Copy that. You succeed, and as you do, and you scream out your hate for the enemies of Big Brother at her in ways that she can clearly hear. She doesn't just hear you, she hears all of Oceania, perhaps all of the Conglomerate, screaming at her in the last moments of her life. She is sobbing. It is undignified. It is vulnerable. Her eyes look terrified. At the crescendo of the screaming citizens blaring through this space, a single shot cracks through the audio. The sounds of screaming cut in the wake of it. Roberta's body flinches, then slumps forward, limp and lifeless. And the picture in picture shifts so that David Rossi's face takes up the entire screen, looking directly into the camera, looking directly at you. Now, here I'll remind you of that feeling of being seen earlier because you still feel it. It may have faded into the background, and it isn't coming from looking into the screen. It's as though someone behind you is watching. If you look around, you don't see any of these strangers looking in your direction. They're all giving themselves over to this just as you are. It feels like somebody's watching you. And Big Brother says over David Rossi's face, "This is the face of Oceania. This is the face of patriotic duty. This is the face of a hero. May you all learn to be heroes like David Rossi." Do you need to take any value tests?
Uh, I think so. I think so.
What do you think you need to take?
I do think I'm gonna do. I think me before you.
Okay.
I'm
Copy
contesting
that.
with this situation. That is bad. So I need to roll under
Mhm.
guilt or sadness, and we're gonna roll. Ooh, of course, that would be the one time that these numbers are low.
Mm. So it goes.
Damn, that's not great. Okay, it is what it is. I chose me before you. Let's do sadness because guilt is at a too low. At least I can try to roll a two or less on a sadness.
Mhm.
Oh man, that's a five on the sadness.
Would you like to take a stress to succeed, or would you like to have an emotional outburst and fail and lower any number, any emotion that you'd like by one? Here, I will mention that when you lower a number to one, it triggers a happy memory. You are able to add a happy memory to that section associated with that emotion, and it resets that emotion to three.
Oh, okay.
The emotional outburst will have to come from a specific list of available sadness outbursts and
I,
will be seen by people.
I'm so concerned the fact that I'm already feeling watched. I have to take the stress.
Okay.
I can't have an outburst while also taking a delegation off of work after seeing a medical professional. That's just too many red flags.
Okay.
We're internalizing it. Damn.
Copy that. You take a stress, you're back up to stress two. So that's a D10 on any actions until you're able to wind down. And it would still be a D10 or higher if you take more stress on that wind down. And then afterwards, it would go back down to one. Just so you know, above table, and so the audience knows, the sadness outburst you could have chosen from would have been crying. You start to cry loudly, will be heard by nearby beings. Giving up, you resign in the face of what is seemingly inevitable. You will voice your despair. The effect lasts for the current scene. Or fall silent. You withdraw and fall silent and passive, unable to act. Those would have been your options, and you would have been able to lower any number by one, including guilt, which is at a two, taking it to a one, giving you a happy memory connected to guilt and popping it up to three.
Yeah,
In
we're holding it together.
Yeah. So your stress is at a two. It's a D10 now. You passed that, and in passing it, which shadow motion are you going to bump up?
Oh, dang. Yeah. What I do with sadness, so we're going to do apathy or despair.
Okay.
Let's bump up this. No, we're going to. You know what? Yeah, we're going to bump up despair to five.
Okay. Okay. That is the end of. If you don't feel that you need to take another value test, that is the end of your work period, and you are in leisure.
Uh, so the arrangement is all ready to drive Tiffany. Do I still need to do a notice someone to do the go somewhere to take her home?
You do actually. If you're
That's
gonna
okay.
like, you have to follow the same sort of. thing because she's not in the scene with you right now. I would say like if you were both in your offices and you were established to be there, I would say no, you don't have to notice her. She was already
Okay.
there. But down there, you got to notice her, and then you got to go somewhere. And okay,
Yeah. So we're gonna do a notice someone. Roll a d10 to notice Tiff.
uh huh.
That's an 8. Okay. And then the notice is to be like work's done,
Hmm.
and to then go somewhere to take her home
Okay,
for fuel conservation still.
perfect. And you did the D10 for that.
And then d10 for the go somewhere. That's a 9. I love rolling a d10 now. It feels so much better.
Less stressful, right?
Less stressful.
Uh, okay, that's you've got up to 4 more acts if you'd like to do anything.
I think in the go somewhere, you know what? I'd like to try and have a. I'd like to talk with her,
Okay.
and let me get this clarity correct. I want to engage in deep connection, but if it doesn't feel deep connection,
You and I vote.
right,
So
and it becomes a
basically,
vote.
we play it out, and then if both of us feel, in this case, otherwise it would be the whole table, like whatever, however many people are at the table, would say, "Hey, I feel like that was authentically, to use the language here, a deep, vulnerable, and heartfelt conversation or activity," or I don't think that's the case.
Yeah,
If it's not the case, you don't get a hope. If it is the case, you do get a hope.
yeah. I'm gonna try to deep connection on the car ride as part of like to go somewhere, and I'm gonna use deep connection with Tiffany. And I think what's gonna just be like is it officially called 2 minute hate? Is that the actual term for like
Yeah,
what they
yeah, we
broadcasted?
haven't established anything else. Yeah.
Okay. Um, like obviously I know she has, but like it's gonna start off with like, so you saw? Did you see the 2 minute hate?
Yes, it was powerful. I am moved to see a retired member of Minipax working in an office here in our own city, standing up for what's right and doing such good work.
The the woman. And if people are on the 2 minute hate, their names don't go into the same cross list, right? That's only for those that are specifically removed in specific ways.
So it gets tricky,
That's
right?
why I
Is
have to
the
double
honest
check here.
answer. So there's nothing that you understand right now that keeps you from being able to say the word Roberta
Okay. That's all I need is to understand.
in this conversation at a minimum.
Okay. So that woman, Roberta, she from our offices by any means? Do you know?
Uh, I don't, but I don't believe that they do work here. I believe that they are not terribly far away. I think that they're in the same general part of town as us. But I don't think so. I think it might either be at the Unity building or near the Unity building is my impression from what I've been able to see. But honestly, I don't know. I heard a bit about it at lunch after the first 2 minute hate, and yeah, I just it feels exciting. Honestly, it feels a bit like the sort of thing that we might come up with. You know, it's interesting to have it happen in front of us, not through us. You know, because it feels a little bit well like a story in the best way, right? It feels like it was a fable we lived through
Mm-hmm.
today. You know, um,
I have a contextual question.
mm,
One, um, our previous boss,
mhm.
has their name come across my um, dossier at any point, or I guess am I
Well,
aware
you don't
if
really know yet because you had Isaac do all of the assessment for you. You didn't go back and see it, so you don't know.
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
No.
Whew, that puts me in a very dangerous spot, but I'm gonna commit.
Mhm.
Ah, yeah, this is a gamble, but I do it. I do it for the story. Um, I'm only gonna end up saying it once, so I don't get in trouble as Jaden, but I'm like probably get in trouble as Christopher. Um, like in the same way that they got in trouble from their audit, or
Mhm.
the one that maybe didn't happen or that caught something.
Mhm.
I'm not fully sure I know what happened or where she went wrong.
Well, I don't know that that's been shared with us, but probably in the usual ways. And truthfully, I think that it was wise of Big Brother to leave it ambiguous because the message, as I understood it, was more powerful that way. We can, in not knowing what she did, project our own potential weaknesses onto it and utilize it as the reminder it's meant to be, that we need to stay vigilant every day against our own failings.
Do you ever worry that there's mistakes being made that you're not catching and you won't know until you're in the chair?
Yes, I do, because I am very aware that I am imperfect and do not deserve the grace that the conglomerate has chosen to give me, while I similarly appreciate that the conglomerate knows better than I do and must have its reasons for providing me that grace that are not only valid but laudable. And so all I can do with the power that I have is, and the knowledge that I have and that I don't have, is trust in the conglomerate fully, as we all should, and hold myself accountable every moment of every day, one moment at a time, because that's reality. The past is an illusion, as Big Brother likes to say. It's there to drag us down. It's not real anymore. Many things that we think of as the past didn't happen. They were misremembered or misreported or both. Our own limitations in our brains cause us to lose a sense of what it was that actually happened. And our own limitations to our perceptive capacities mean that even in the moment, we can't understand the fullness of reality. So the past is nothing. The past means nothing. The past does not exist and may never have existed. That's the whole point of us doing corrections, isn't it?
Yeah, I
And
guess.
the future is not here yet. That is the promise, right, of the conglomerate to make tomorrow today. And the only path I know to make tomorrow today is to hold myself accountable each moment. When I fall short, take responsibility for it, seek guidance and assistance from the loving embrace of the conglomerate, and trust that they know better than I do. And trust that that means that if they find that I need to be corrected, they know best.
And then there's just no chance to resolve it. I I got promoted to director, which means now there's a new senior exec that has taken my old position, and I don't even know what might have happened with the last director, what mistakes I might need to specifically avoid.
Well, I can tell you, actually. and this should be in Isaac's report for you, that the person previously in your position was demoted. I saw them at lunch, actually, and they were in a groundskeeping uniform. I think they're in charge of groundskeeping now, but they were demoted and reassigned. So they do seem to still be they're a bureaucrat. They're in the bureaucracy of our organization, but totally reassigned to different work than what we had done.
So now they're just an officer of the grounds.
Yes, in charge of a team there as well. They still have managerial skills, but with much less responsibility than we have over the mental, intellectual, and emotional hygiene of a sector, of a nation, of a conglomerate.
Do you do you think he's happier?
Well, that's very hard for me to tell. I do think that I saw him diligently doing his work, and I would like to think that he is attempting to follow the same advice I just gave to you, which is he is holding himself accountable one moment at a time, finding meaning and purpose in that, doing his part so that we all together as a conglomerate may someday fully make tomorrow today.
For what it's worth, I appreciate you more than I think I have before.
I appreciate you too. And I am grateful that you are the person to whom I report now. I frankly see the wisdom very clearly in that decision by the conglomerate. Sometimes decisions are more mysterious to me. That is not the conglomerate's fault. That's my failing. This one is not mysterious. This one makes all the sense in the world to me. It's well earned, Christopher.
Do you think in this position it would be acceptable to be scared?
I think it would be unwise not to be scared. I don't think that the question is whether any of us feel fear. I feel fear all the time. The question is, what do we do with it? And what do we let it do with us?
Yeah. All the corrections we make, I'm scared I'm going to overcorrect and make a different mistake.
Well, the conglomerate will let you know if that happens. And I believe if it is not overly damaging, you will have ample opportunity to correct the overcorrection. You are an asset, Christopher. You're good at what you do, very good at what you do. When we were in a more competitive position, it would have been more complicated for me to admit that, but this is not me gassing you up because you're my superior now. This is genuine. You're very good at your job. The conglomerate is far too wise to simply let that go to waste.
It's funny, working in corrections, we get very precise with our language, but in between all the words, I've I come to see that you not only mean what you say it with a certain weight that, if I am permitted to say so, I hadn't realized that in all our competitiveness, you had become a friend of sorts.
I feel that way about you as well. I think there is a part of it that may relate to the fact that there are only so many people who can relate to what we do. And in finding a similar passion for it in each other, a similar talent, if I may be so bold, uh, for it in each other, and then having that familiarity with the work, I do think that there was wisdom in the conglomerate putting us together as well to push each other further than we may have gone on our own by proximity. And now, with me rightly reporting to you, with me being able to provide you with support as you help guide us into what comes next. And that is what I want to do, Christopher. I want to support you.
My brain just clocked something. Um, Contextually, me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if someone incidentally is using language they're not allowed to use, is that something that's supposed to be immediately reported, or can we do what's it called, like citizens correction?
It's up to you what you feel is right in this moment.
I think in at the way she's speaking, because specifically, I know I probably slip up, but at some point, I'm just gonna. We can aid one another. We should be careful in the language we use when providing that additional personal leverage of growth.
Indeed. I'm sorry. It's I did mention I fail sometimes.
You don't need to apologize. And I'm going to gesture
Mhm.
to like give like a hug of sorts. I don't think hugging is not allowed. I'm pretty sure
She'll
that's
take
still
a
fine.
hug. She'll take a hug. And I'm not rolling on that to be clear. Like meaning it's not a problem that you hug her.
Yeah,
You're
and
not I will say you're not at work. Keep that in mind.
that's and I some my brain it gets so paranoid that I'm like, oh, it's beyond totalitarian.
Mm.
I'm going to in the hug. I'm going to try to say quietly in the hug.
Mhm.
I don't know how sensitive Big Brother's mics are, but I'm gonna, in the same way, I will support you.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. For that scene that we just did, it's fully up to you. It's your call, not mine. Not only do I think that was authentically deep connection, so please do take a hope. If you do want to spend a second act on extroverted romance affection, which again does not have to be romantic in nature, you can take 3 value tests, and if you succeed in all of them, she becomes family, and then you cannot revert to me at any point, and you gain 2 more love. If you fail at any of them and don't like take stress to succeed, right, or use a memory if you can to succeed, then she would become hostile and revert to stranger. But you could always try to befriend her again.
Friend later. I do think it's going to be an extroverted affection because I'm realizing that Tiffany is like in this wild situation might actually be my best friend.
Yeah, fully possible. I mean, again, you two share a very specific context that
Yeah,
not everybody knows, right? So
like we
yeah,
see things that don't exist all the time.
and you have to deal with it in a way that you learn to do that other people don't. So like that trauma bonding kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
compartmentalizing that no one else has to deal with.
yeah, 100%. So go ahead and add the one hope if you haven't done that yet for the deep connection. Let me know what 3, based on the scene we already played, what
Okay.
3 value tests you think apply most, and then let's do those and let's resolve them. And then before you take any additional acts, I have to do with it.
So I think I feel like family first because I chose disallowed language
Mhm.
and I wanted to make sure that that was known. Then leave no one behind.
Okay.
Family first, leave no one behind. And I think in a roundabout way, silence is violence. Like by not speaking on this, I feel like is making things worse. I feel like the act of speaking could help us make a difference.
Mhm.
Those are yeah. So leave no one behind, family first, and silence is violence are the three values I think I'm going to go with.
Okay, perfect. She says back to you when you whisper that, I'm so sorry. I've been a little weak since they took me yesterday.
I if we're still in the hug, I squeeze a little harder. We go through so much, but we don't have to do things alone
Mhm.
or process alone or process in the scope of what work is. If we have to carry the pain home,
Mhm.
then I want you to know you can carry the comfort of talking to me outside of work too.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
And so I guess this is now the value tests.
Yeah, please go ahead and roll them in whatever
All right.
order you would like.
So what I do, it was first I'm gonna do leave no one behind, which is fear or despair. So I'm gonna roll. Uh, damn. All right, leave no one behind. We're gonna go with fear. I have to roll above a 4.
Mm.
Damn. I'm gonna have to take a stress to pass that because I rolled a 3. So there's no way.
No. You can only use a memory if you hit the number and you have a relevant memory that takes it in the right direction.
Yep, because
Um,
trauma will increase the number. Okay, so only if I'm rolling under anyway.
yeah.
Okay, damn. Okay, so we'll do the stress there. Let's do, and it's only when I failed rolls, but I succeeded, so now I have to increase one.
Mhm.
And I rolled fear, so anger or apathy. We're going to increase anger to 5. And then now I'm going to roll silence is violence, which is anger or despair. I'm going to roll, I think we're going to do despair. And I need to roll under a 5.
Mm.
Right. Got to be. Okay, so I rolled a 5. Damn. And I don't have our associated emotion, so I'd have to take another stress.
Yeah.
Great, my stress has already come all the way back.
To
Uh,
max?
yep, I'm at stress 4.
Okay.
And then I have to increase fear or sadness. Let's increase sadness to 4, maybe? No. Let's. I tried to roll under despair. Let's increase fear to 5. Yeah, we'll increase fear to 5. Damn. And then the last one was family first, because I did leave no one behind. Family first is sadness or apathy. I'm going to do sadness. No, I'm going to do apathy. For family first, I have to roll over a 3. Okay, that's likely. I could do that with an apathy.
Hmm.
Thank God, that's a 4. Okay. So that's a pass on apathy. And then I increase guilt or despair. Ooh, that's tough. I think we're gonna push despair up and reset it to 3 because it went to 6, drops to 3. We're gonna get a new feeling. I have to get rid of one for despair.
Mhm.
It's my 5th trauma of the day.
What are you going to displace and what are you going to replace it with?
I think we're going to get rid of sadness for despair. Because I had the isolated sensation from the hate. I think I'm gonna follow that same path. Uh, Someone I care about was taken, and I didn't even know.
Mm.
Like I ignore the people around me I should care about. Like that, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for that. And so that's my third value. I passed 2 because of stress, and 1 and got a traumatic memory of despair.
Okay.
That was rough.
But you succeed overall.
I did, which means Tiffany becomes family.
Tiffany's now family, so you can check the box next to her name on your sheet that asks if they're family. And what that means is that stays a trusted character of yours unless or until she either takes over as your primary resistance character if Christopher is vaporized or otherwise dies, or until I kill her.
Okay, and then I get how much love for this?
Two, love.
Too, and no hope
And
from that,
then
right? That
no hope from that.
okay.
But you are able to now do the version of this for family that's on your sheet in future with Tiffany that only takes one value test and also gives you two love each time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, let me. What did I just do? I did um, notice. I did notice. Go somewhere. I did deep connection. Then I expanded it to extroverted affection. Okay, cool. So then I'm going to go somewhere because I dropped her off at home, and I'm going to go home. I need to roll a d4 because stress.
Mhm.
Damn, that's a 4. Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. Uh, I am going to then at home. I have 1 left, so I'm gonna wind down,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna roll my dice.
Okay. Let me know.
Um, it's above a 3, so it's above a
Okay.
1 because all that matters as long as it's a 1.
Yeah. Okay. So
My stress
that
went
is
down, and
your
that's it. Yeah.
yeah, that is your day. So we've hit the end of leisure. We're now entering the sleep phase where we deal with interrogations, promotions, and demotions. Um, so this is what I'm going to do. You receive a message that on your device from an anonymous source that you're unable to identify, stating to you that Gloria Thompson is a thought police agent.
So I get an anonymous text message declaring that Gloria is
Your
thought police.
mother, that your mother
Yeah.
is thought police.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's anonymous text message.
yeah, yeah. So you receive that. You are put up for promotion, so you're able to take another. You're able to take another class act for that.
Okay. I think there was already one I was kind of looking at.
Do you know which one you want to take?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab. reorganize the workplace.
Okay. Go ahead and take that, and you'll be able to send me your updated sheet after this is done. Um, Past that, there are three. You'll have confirmation of this in the morning. I'm just letting you know as a part of the sleep phase here. When you go into work the following day, three of the people on your floor who you had yet to meet, who are all director level, um, were interrogated and vaporized. None of them were the one who you saw being taken or Ronald Daly.
Okay.
Three of the other people on that floor, you can expect that they will be seamlessly replaced.
Yeah.
Your experience of that will essentially potentially be, if you go in, etc., that you see three different people. You never met their names, so their names are not going to be. You never met them, so their names are not added to the banned words list
Yeah.
at the level of our game, right?
Because their names aren't unknown to me, so I wouldn't know.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you would know conceptually their names are now banned words, right? Whatever
Okay.
those names may be. And the acknowledgement that anybody else was there goes along with that. So it isn't just the saying of the name; it's the admission that like a person was there. To clarify for you above table, Roberta in the where Roberta was introduced originally, because you're experiencing a day that we've also filmed other people do elsewhere. Roberta
Yeah.
was not made into a banned word. So in the
Okay.
case of Roberta specifically, because of how everything went and it being so public and all that stuff, Roberta is not a banned word. That is a
Okay.
person that continues to be someone that you can speak about. In fact, is a person that can be used as a propaganda tool in death
Yeah.
by referring to her. Right.
Yes. Excellent. Okay.
So that is that. I just want to see one other thing. Right. As you're going to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
you still feel those eyes on you.
And I wanted to do something about that, but there wasn't enough time.
And just like you heard at work, you hear scratching in your walls at home.
It's gonna have to be a problem for another day because there's just not enough time.
Yeah. So that is where we end it. Congratulations on making it successfully through. You didn't even get interrogated. It's a pretty good
Which
day.
which is
Um,
good because
yeah.
I'm gonna wait till we're at the roll down before I speak further and accidentally slip up.
Yeah. It's okay. We're fully in cooldown right now.
We're in cooldown.
I'm
Okay.
Danny again. Hi. Yeah, we're done with the sleep phase because we just finished all of our accounting.
I, I want it to be known since we are
Yeah.
officially in the cooldown in which I can say the unlisted language and
Yes.
not get in trouble.
Yes.
I just want it to be known for everyone who's seen this. Not being able to say four is hard when you forget not to say four when you have to keep rolling a d4. I just want that to be known, or
I
when all your
also
numbers sit at four.
I also want it to be so clear, I didn't come up with that. That's because a character, like a player, decided to name their character for.
Yeah,
Um, and so that turned into a thing where like I made for a banned word, not just using that name, because they didn't name the character formally on the sheet like surveillance unit 4, which would have been
yeah,
its own thing. They wrote the digit 4, and then they wrote the word for spelled out in quotation marks, like in parentheses. So like covers it completely. We even talked about it like separate from the gameplay, and it landed on no. That's good. I will tell you above table, it's been pretty good for illustrating how newspeak works, right? How the self censorship mechanic in the game works, because it is
mm-hmm.
very hard to forget, like to remember to do it, and then you become like kind of self conscious about it, and that does its own thing, and then you have to come up with ways of talking around it. And I will say more than a lot of the other banned words, because it has so much to do with what we do above table, it's really exemplified that well. So
Yeah, no, I used it a lot, especially at a certain when my stress
you
is at full.
did. You kept
Stress.
saying it, and I couldn't tell you like that wouldn't work. So I was like, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna roll loudly over here
What's funny is I
until
remembered all the other ones. Like I remember, I think I said share at some point. I was like, oh wait, no, that's not allowed. Can't say
Yeah.
banned, and I was like, don't say resist or revision. Okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. And then it wasn't until eventually that um, Tiffany said support. And I was like, no, I think support's on there. And I check my list, and then in bold, I have 4 written, and I put next to it, don't say 4. And I was like, oh, I've been saying it a lot.
So much. What's great about that, and really, I needed to highlight that I didn't come up with it because it would have been perfect if I had, but I didn't, is that when you have to say for the most is when you have the most stress because you're at stress level 4
4.
with a D4.
Uh
So
huh.
like it really couldn't have, and it's a D6 system, so just for your baseline like rolls you're going to say 4 a lot, like meaning you're going to run into that a lot, right? If it had been the number 7 or any higher number than that, it would have come up much less often,
Uh huh.
right?
I think
Um,
the only thing worse than 4 would be a 6 in this game.
yeah, probably because a D6 is the thing that you always have to be like you predominantly have to be rolling,
Yeah.
etc. Yeah, although honestly, because stress goes down to a D4, 4 might be worse
That's
than
fair. Because that's
6.
when you reach that stress, you're like, I'm
Yeah.
at stress 4. I got to roll a D4, 4, 4, 4.
The thing I debate might be worse is a 1 because a 1 is there on every kind of die that you roll, and it's what you roll to fumble on stress. So
So then
like
you have to say, I rolled a 1.
yeah, or find a way to talk around that,
I
but
fumbled. Like, yeah.
right, exactly. But then you're feeling it all the more when you fucked up by like through stress, right? So
Yeah.
like that's its own thing. All
Or I
right,
was too
so
focused on the fact I had stress 4. And it, man, just want everyone to know this
it's
game is
super
beautiful and
fair.
it's making it stressful in a
It
good way.
really is. Ewan, you hear that? We're liking it. All right, so let's do the D-rolling. They're on pages. If you have the full version of it, it's page
Yeah.
137 is where it starts.
137. Okay.
Yeah,
Where's my.
and so we have a little bit of time to be able to do the whole thing. If you want to do the whole thing, I'll give
Yeah, let's do it.
guidelines. Yeah, I'll give guidelines out loud to everybody so you can see. In any of these steps, anybody can opt out of answering. No one is obligated to participate. Cut to the emotional chase and avoid simply retelling the game. Debriefing is intended to process the emotional content. Focus on your emotions. Avoid making assumptions about others. Make sure everyone gets the chance to speak for roughly the same amount of time. Set a time limit for sharing, say 5 minutes per story. Do not interrupt or comment. I think that fits more when you're doing like a whole group, right?
Yeah.
And I think the spirit of this is really what we need to get across. Step 1: questions to help you getting out of character. The process begins a session with a session where you transition back from your player characters, Big Brother, Resistance characters, Trusted characters, to your real life selves by asking each other some questions. Choose 1 to 2 from the list on the next page. The process: we start by reflecting on our characters' experiences and emotions during the game. Then we take turns asking each other questions to help separate ourselves from the characters. So most of the time, I haven't actually been able to do this fully as written. Because we have a little bit more time, I'd be down to do that. Do
Yeah,
you
let's do
want
it.
to ask? Do you want to ask the first question, or do you want me to ask?
I'm going to ask the first one.
Okay.
Because I want to go with. Let me read these real quick. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
options, actually.
Yeah.
And since you were Big Brother, I think.
Yeah, it's funny
Since
because
you.
some of these are harder for Big Brother to answer, honestly.
Yeah, which is
Like,
why
what do you
I think.
admire and want to take with you? I don't fucking know. I'm effective. I ran into that very early on with this process where I was asked that a couple of times and I was like giving the same answer. Somebody called me out like you can't give the same answer every time. It's like, but it is the same answer every time. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I think we're going to go with. Think about one thing you're looking forward to doing outside of the game. What is it?
I'm gonna get around my cop out one, which is not a cop out. It's always true, but to give a different answer, I'm gonna acknowledge it, and so I'm gonna kind of answer it twice. One is I'm gonna get to see my daughter. Like as soon as we're done recording, before I record the next thing today, I'm gonna go hang out with my kid, and I'm excited about that because I'm always excited to hang out with her. And not just her, my nuclear family, right? Like it's lovely to have. I I'm still a new dad. You know what I mean? I love
Yeah,
the shit out of my kid. So
it's a
like
good cop out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I will say it's actually building on the last time we derolled. I mentioned that I was going to go see the Odyssey So
Yeah.
now that's 2 days from now, from when we're filming this. So I'm not going to say just that, but I'm going to say the whole staycation because tomorrow is when my staycation where I'm watching that starts. And then the next day is when my wife and I are going to go see the Odyssey to kind of finish that out. Because then at the end of that day, I'm actually filming. So, peek behind the curtain, audience. I'm filming the talkback for the main cast season 1 for this, for Oceania, that night. So, two
Oh,
nights from now.
oh,
So,
it's a
I
whole
have
nice little location.
yeah. So it's like 2 days of that before I come back to this. So I film like we just filmed this. What I'm filming tonight is a game of Perils and Princesses, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm off for the better part of the next 2 days, fully tomorrow, and then the better part of the next 2 days. Just enjoying staying with my wife at a hotel nearby here in town, but in a neighborhood where we dated a lot in our like when we started dating. So it
Hmm.
like means a lot to us from that perspective. And then the next day, we're probably gonna just like sleep in, have a nice lunch somewhere, go watch the Odyssey in IMAX, not 70 mil, but again, as we talked about before, I'm gonna see if I can get the 70 mil tickets when it inevitably comes back
Yeah.
around like award season.
Mhm.
With time because I waited too long. It's my fault, right? And it was too late. And then come back at the end of that to do a talk back with whoever's able to make it from the main cast, right? For us, I don't know if we're going to end up at the end of this among like duet players or whatever, doing our own little talk back thing. I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to all that, including actually the talk back. Although I don't know if that fully answers the question because it's does that count as outside the game? But the
Yeah.
stuff in between for sure. And then I'm really excited to hear what people think looking back on their experience with this game because we shot all this very fast. Like what you and I are doing is still continuing right now and will for a little bit. But like the main campaign sessions were all filmed. It was like 18 sessions filmed within a month,
Oh, wow.
separate from what you and I have been filming, what I've filmed with other duet players, what I'm going to film with other duet players, any like other stuff that we might do if we do joint table stuff. Like all of that is separate from the 18 I'm talking about.
So like 20
Uh,
something sessions filmed in a month so far.
Last week, I filmed 5 sessions of Oceania in like 36 hours.
You
A solo session, and 4 full table sessions.
letting you know that's real Big Brother energy.
It is. It was a lot. I needed a break afterwards, and I took one, and it was good.
And you need to do
Um,
and then do another break after this. Yes.
Correct. This is my slight dip from breaking. Because yesterday I did very, very little, relatively speaking. Like by my standards, I did very little. I play tested a little bit of a game that I love called Rocket Club, a closed play test. And then at night, I helped raise money for immigrant defenders with Jesse the Human and stuff. That was a lot of fun. But and then today we're doing these two things. But like still fairly chill days for me, relatively
Comparatively.
speaking.
Yeah,
And
compared to
then
5 sessions in 36 hours.
and then the 2 days before that I like almost didn't do anything like as far as work is concerned. And then tomorrow I'm not going to do anything, and the next day until the talk back I'm not going to do anything, right? I'm just going to relax.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's pretty good. I want to know, what about you, Uno Reverse? I'm going to ask you the same question. What are you looking forward to doing outside of the game?
Um, I have been meeting a lot of new friends in town, and I've been invited to some like backstage events in some like new upcoming metal concerts. So I'm
Awesome.
looking forward to meeting some new friends and making new friends to help me find more places to explore these hidden gems because it's a hidden gem in Vegas, like off the strip locations in like these areas that are so fun, so cheap, and are so much more friendly and more intimate than like the downtown area where everything feels too busy and everything feels like tourism. It feels genuine. We're like in that area, so I'm excited to like
I
adventure.
love that. I love that. I'm gonna need to ask you for recommendations the next time that I'm in Vegas,
Oh,
because
please
that
do.
sounds so much better than most
So
of
much
what
fun.
I experience when I go. That sounds great.
I have gone to so many places that I've learned that locals have been showing me, and like these hidden restaurants, these hidden concerts, these like cheap events that they throw. Like there's free concerts that happen in Vegas off the strip. That like, for instance, last weekend I went to go see this last Saturday. I went to go see Sleeping with Sirens for free, and then like went to a VIP lounge that was in addition to the event. They were like, just after that, just come over here, and I got to do like the
That's
table
awesome.
service at a bar. It was I was like, oh, this is cool.
That's
That's
really cool. That's really great. I love that.
yeah. So
Um, do
that's
you
me.
want to do you want to ask me a second question from here before we move to the next section, or you don't have to.
Um,
The option is there.
these ones are just hard to give to Big Brother because it's like they're all
I
like
know.
based off your character, based off your character.
I know. I mean, you could look. I did do a little bit of resistance character play here also, so I did play Tiffany as
Yeah, you
well,
know
which
what?
helps. And your therapist, which became Amelia Roberts, also became a trusted character. So we can talk about
Yeah.
that too if you want. Yeah,
Let me read these. Let me go through.
yeah.
Ooh, who did you play? Perspective. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll do this one. Who did you play during the game? Share your perspective on the character, one of the characters, or any all the characters that you have portrayed.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I'm never really allowed to fully answer questions about character stuff as Big Brother. Part of it isn't just like, oh, I can't like it isn't just like, oh, I do all the shitty things. It's also that I can't give shit away, right? So like when I play strangers, I'm not just being uniformly shitty. And that's not just because like Danny doesn't want to be uniformly shitty. It would strategically be a bad idea if like every stranger that you came across had bad intentions, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
the ambiguity of Ronald Daly, right? Like,
Ronald.
is Ronald really checking in on you? Is he doing something fucked up? Why is he there? What's going on? I have to leave that ambiguous in a way where like I can't tell you right now even what I was doing with Ronald without taking something away from your experience in the game in general. But
Which is very
because
cool. That's so
no,
beautiful.
yeah, but I think it's worth sharing that. Do you know what I mean? Like as an
Yeah.
insight. But then within this duet construction, I actually can talk a little bit more about characters that I play. That because I play some resistance characters, I play some trusted characters, right?
Yeah.
So what was interesting was I can't tell you anything like on the cusp to go in order here about Dr. Amelia Roberts before you befriended her, right? Any of what I
Yeah.
did before then. But I can fully talk to you about what I did after you befriended her.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this is a person. I want to re-highlight something that Ewan brought up in the interview series that I did with him that I thought
Mm-hmm.
was really profound. That is implied by the text, but is not explicit in the text, and he still nevertheless feels is fundamental to the text, which is that everyone in the world has a deviation. Because everyone in the world, even if they're a stranger, can be befriended. Everyone.
Yeah.
And therefore they can be made into a trusted character, which means that they can be made into a resistance character, which means that you have to build a character sheet for them, which means that they have to have a deviation because you have to have a deviation on your character sheet.
Yeah.
Therefore, every single person in the conglomerate from now until the end of time has a deviation. And it's interesting because even the worst people who you encounter are theoretically, mechanically redeemable. Now, it doesn't mean that they stop being who they are or that we're whitewashing anything, but it does mean you could take someone horrible, which isn't what you did with Dr. Amelia Robert. I didn't have any plans. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's ambiguity there, but like, probably goes along like figures it out. Working in that kind of position under an autocracy like this, got to do some fucked up shit. Everybody does
Yeah.
some fucked up shit to survive, right? Again, not whitewashing that. But what I'm saying is it's not at a baseline exceptional. And now that she's a trusted character, it's not up to me as Big Brother. It's up to resistance players. Now, in the duet function, I also bifurcate and do that. But I'm not going to lean her in a shitty direction when I'm playing her as a resistance player, right?
Yeah.
Like as when I'm doing the trusted character part of this. Um, she like you could take the worst person who you encounter. If you somehow came across like an interrogator who you'd known had like fucked up a bunch of people, or a boy in blue who committed a fuck ton of war crimes, and you
Mm-hmm.
chose to befriend them, functionally, what this game lets you do is that takes a toy away from me and gives a toy to your side of the table. And then if you ever end up playing them first person, as a trusted character, you get to define their reality. And it's, even though there's character non-monogamy in this game, there is canon. So everything anybody does with any of your trusted characters, including and especially ones who you end up playing as your resistance character, was true. It did happen. You get to define, when you pick up the baton, what that means. Why did they do it? What did it mean to them? How do they remember it, etc. If you were
Yeah.
talking about this earlier, if you find any of them were a thought police agent, well, they're not anymore when you start playing them as a resistance player, even if they were as a trusted character, and you have to decide, why are they going to stop doing that now, etc., etc. So transitioning into having Dr. Amelia Roberts be a trusted character, the main thing that I did was I started playing her more like she had a deviation. I didn't determine what the deviation was because it's not up to me, but I
Yeah.
started playing her more like a person who's trying to survive this place and
Yeah.
not just monitoring, like, hey, I'm doing that, but then I'm also having to maintain tone, essentially, right? As Big Brother. When I played Tiffany, who you had already last session turned into a trusted character, she was just a trusted character this time. So I
Yeah.
played her fully that way. When I said support, I was there to trigger a test in you, but I didn't roll on it for me. So the way that I bifurcate that for myself, if I had been a trusted character, if I had been
Mm-hmm.
a resistance player and I said a banned word and I wasn't Big Brother, I was doing this normally, I would roll on that shit. And I would
Yeah.
get, if I see it or hear it or whatever, I would get my currency for it, my suspicion points. I'd get whatever, however many I get for however it comes out, whatever. Um, for this situation of duet play, I can do things like that to create complicated situations for you, but I can't feed myself points. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's this weird like hybrid thing that I'm doing. It's a little closer to what I do with strangers. Because I have strangers, I mean, spoiler alert, right? But like I don't think this would surprise you to hear. I in other parts of this game, I have strangers say banned words all the fucking time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a part of what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Um, I do that a lot less here, right? But in that situation, I'm also a person, so sometimes I'll slip up and say it by accident too, right? And you not knowing whether I said it by accident or on purpose is a part of the inherent paranoia of the panopticon. It's also irrelevant to what you do next. So whether I said it on purpose or by accident, meaning me, Danny, said it on purpose or by accident, it was still said. And you
Yeah.
still have to choose, are you going to react to that or not? Right? Um, at the level of the fiction, particularly when somebody in the fiction says it.
Yeah.
If I say it above table as a Big Brother, it kind of doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't have to. Who
You're
are
in
you going
charge
to
of it
report
anyway,
that
so
to? Yeah, it doesn't matter. But if any of you say it above table, you how you respond to each other also might matter a little bit. You know what I mean? It's an interesting ambiguity that honestly
yeah.
only comes down to what I decide to do or not do, and how I
Yeah.
decide to interpret it as Big Brother.
Which I want to say, like, that was really big because, like, having Tiffany say support had me and Christopher go, like, that's right. She is just a person. Like, I knew it, but, like, her saying a clearly banned word that my brain clocked was like, she said she makes mistakes. And honestly, she makes the same mistake I would make. And it was such like a powerful accident or even intentional. I don't know which way you went with it,
Yeah,
but like it came to me of like a what do I do about this? I'm like,
Sh I'm glad it landed like that. She didn't do it intentionally. Like she wasn't trying to fuck with you. I can tell you that because she's a
yeah,
trusted character, yada yada. Like she wasn't trying to trap you. There was no trick there. Like she fucked up. She was feeling emotional because she was bonding with you. She's glad that you survived the day. She was glad that she survived the day. She had been fucking interrogated the day before.
Yeah, and then gets taken.
Because you reported her, by the way. The day before, Christopher had reported her 2 days before. But like Christopher had reported her 2 days before. She had just been interrogated the day before. Like, that's tough. It's not easy to survive that shit, you know?
You're right, because it leads to the narrative of like, yeah, we're rivals, and then I'm like, damn, like the rapid journey of Christopher being like, oh man, I've been bulldozing through my life, and like, right, I didn't have, even my other trusted characters are not friends. Even Gabriel, who was supposed to be my first interaction on my first session, has pushed to the back burner because they've been just someone that is trusted, but not a friend.
That's the thing. This is what's interesting is the game is so beautifully play to find out, right? That we come in with plans, me included, because I have to, especially as we're doing this in actual play, I have to come in with some thoughts, right?
Yeah.
But and right now, what you're doing specifically, I'm also aligning you in terms of timeline with things we've already shot with other people, right?
Yeah.
So there's some things that I bring in that is a little less play to find out at a macro level, right?
Yeah.
Than
some hard-coded scenes.
Yeah, but there's a lot of room inside of that to play to find out regardless. And part of what I try to get across when I talk about this with folks is these are some of the most important days in these people's lives, even if nothing major happens, like at a big dramatic level, because this is a slice of life game, ultimately. You can take big swings and try to do like big flashy things, but what a big swing is in this game isn't what a big swing is uh, in a power fantasy game, right? Or in a party game, to use a term that Ewan used to describe like a game where you play like an adventuring party, right?
Yeah.
This isn't that, right? There is a mode because there are different ways of setting up a campaign, and the one that's easiest for like bringing people in who have never played it before or like in a traditional gaming context is one where the least sandboxy, right? One where you have the most like stuff coming from me. That is, this big thing's happening in the world, that big thing's happening in the world. For this campaign, I've put together elements of all 3 game modes that he put in. So there's a lot of sandbox stuff, and I have a backstop essentially of stuff that I can throw out there using the tools that I have that are, this is happening in the world, that's happening in the world, that's a little bit more railsy, plotty, right? But I love discovering it here. Not just because my life's easier, also I prep less, right? But like I also I just love following what you're interested in. So like the fact that you wanted to befriend your therapist so that you could have a regular therapist, I fucking love that. I thought that was
right?
great. Like I thought that was a super cool idea. Yeah. And now we get to have that. Yeah, now we get to have that be a part of your days moving forward if you continue to want to, if circumstances allow. You're saying Tiffany's now feeling like maybe your best friend. So you've got this thing going where this person who uniquely understands what you're going through and have to deal with and are responsible for, and who's also in a position to help you, who was your competitor and now works for you. That's a great thing to be able to interrogate further also, right? The nature of your promotion and how you described the new workspace that you're in versus the old workspace that you were in that we saw in the previous episode, and the way those things tied together built out more of the world beautifully. Everything that you're doing, this is us transitioning a little bit into the next section. Share your feelings, share good memories, which are steps 2, share step 3. But like, I think we've been sharing our feelings some as we go too. This maybe even gets into a little bit of share good memories, but like, I love that. There's a lot, and you don't have any reason to know this because you haven't been present for these sessions, but there's actually a fair amount of Hollywoody stuff that has come up in the main campaign also. It's a little bit of look behind the curtain, which funny enough, I've leaned into because of my own life experiences. For any of you watching this who don't know, I've spent my entire adult life working in film and television, but it didn't start with me. honestly. Like it didn't it like it I bid onto it and then I leaned into it. But like now there's been all this other stuff that if you no pressure, but like if you get a chance once the episodes come out to see any of the main campaign stuff and especially some of the later stuff, you'll see more of that come in. One of the things I'm really excited about that you built independent of that with Christopher is like where Christopher works and what Christopher does can potentially be a different conduit into different elements of that. There have also been other people who work in other elements of like news programming and censorship with regard to that, right? So like other ways of dealing with corrections that were once known as revisions but are now corrections, which is a change that happened in your first session and had carried over to the main campaign, and I let all those people know and they then had to switch over to that. I love that. That's been a blast.
I have particularly loved the
That water fixture also, fuck, what a good
yeah.
thing for you to bring in there. Such a good visual that I got to bite onto and that you wanted that. You were
Oh
gonna
yeah.
say something.
I recently had to the water thing. I had recently just went to like one of the malls downtown in Vegas, and they have an entire like one of the hotel like shopping malls has an entire water show where they have like water do its thing, and then they have the water just spraying, and they run like a 3 minute video through this like 3 dimensional water figure that you could see from any angle. So now I was like, I even knew I was like, oh, I was like, I will put the fountain because I know I have a feeling that it's going to be projected on the water, which adds to the sense of like eerie
Yeah.
everywhere can be watched. Glass is
Yeah.
one thing, right? But like
Yeah.
it coming up in the water adds to the sense of there is nowhere you could go and it not be there. And I was like, when I said the
I
fountain, you were
love
like in the
that.
water. I was like, yeah, bit and chew.
Seriously. I'm so glad and I love it when people do that because there Ewan built so much narrative control into your side of the table. And especially with Big Brother being deliberately so paranoia inducing and the power asymmetry being so severe with regard to some elements of play, it's easy to lose that. It's easy to forget that as a resistance player. So it makes me really happy when I see resistance players be like, so this is the world, blah 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 blah, and give me all this stuff. I'm like, yes, that's what this is for. And you spent so much time. I know you had something else to say. I want you to say it. You spend so much time connecting with people this time too,
I
and that's
did.
so important to the game. That
I did a
is
lot more this
that's
time.
the fucking ball game, Jaden. Do you know what I mean? Like I love seeing that because that is what this is about: building social networks, strengthening social networks, gaining hope, gaining love. That's so much of how you fight the autocracy.
It was
Yeah.
so like I want to go on that because like I think at first when I was like I don't know what to do, so I'm like I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna be really good at my job because that's how it usually is, right? And these you're like let me just stay in. And I think even with the fact that Tiffany was the first person to show up in my that you brought, and I was like I don't trust you at all. And the irony of her becoming my best friend by the end, like yeah. But I think
Yeah.
it's because I'm right. It's less about what you discover in the world, and it's more about how you discover who you are in the world. And
Yeah.
Christopher exploring like starting off, okay, get to office, go have lunch, get back to office, dealing with audit at work. And this time, like, no, I need to go talk to someone. And then you know what? I'm gonna go talk to someone. While I'm talking to them, I'm gonna make them a friend. And then while I'm here, I'm gonna go connect with Tiffany. And there was a part I was like, let me connect with my assistant. I was like, I don't have time. And it's like Christopher's been so focused on what he does for work that he has forgot to be a person. And so like that's his journey is like he has had to remove so many people's names and they're from so many records that he's like, if I get removed, who will even know?
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to
Yeah.
be remembered for more than just the work I do. I need to be remembered as a person. So like that's his resistance. His resistance is now like the more people that know about me, the harder it will be for society to like move on.
I love that. And that's the thing is in a session and change, you understood the assignment. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you immediately got because that's ultimately what this is. It's about what you leave behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even if Christopher is interrogated and vaporized, not even at the end of the next in the middle of the next session, right?
Yeah.
The people who know him, and here's where it comes to. You haven't had a chance to use this yet. No stress on it. But like I want to mention notes here because notes are a big part of this, right? Hiding and find this is from the book. Hiding and finding notes are central to gaining new hope points. So is a deep connection, right? Which you did.
Yeah.
Notes are pieces of information scribbled on pieces of paper or physical material that contain a message and the name of the character that wrote it, right? So it says here to resist the totality of the state, one key activity is essential: writing your own history outside of the universe, right? So that's why it matters that it's physical. Resistance fighters leave physical notes to ensure future comrades don't have to start from scratch. Since Big Brother confiscates all personal belongings when a resistance character is deemed a traitor, the only way to preserve your history is writing, hiding, and finding notes, sharing your truths with others in opposition. So, as a complement to building out your trusted network, right? Your network, your social network, because those are your extra lives. So that also keeps you in the game, in the
Yeah.
campaign, right? Um, these notes, any resistance player can write a note at any time. The content of notes have to be inside of the narrative and describe things that are a part of the story. It can contain claims about any character, a location, or an event, but it can also be random thoughts or memories, right? So you can write, even without Isaac being a trusted character, you could write down Isaac seems to be sympathetic to our cause and will be on our side, and then you sign it and then you hide it. And that becomes narrative truth when somebody else finds it. Same if you hand it to a trusted character or another resistance character, it's now narrative truth. Now, you don't want to get caught with a note by me because then I can make it not a narrative truth and then use it against you in an interrogation.
Yeah.
But and it enters my investigation deck, and I don't even have to use it against you. I could hold it and then use it against somebody else who didn't even have a note on them, yada yada, right?
Yeah.
Um, Notes can contain any message that's based on the narrative of the game. When a note has been written, it is considered a game world object, an item the character carries with them, unless they get rid of it by some means: hide note, destroy something, etc. A player can carry any number of notes at any time. To hide a note, you need to have a note to hide and then simply describe how your character hides that note. Hiding notes is very risky. Use the hide something thing. But being careful and planning this can make the act near undiscoverable. It's hiding a note is a thought crime, but if the thought crime roll leads to the character getting noticed, it gives me an additional suspicion point. So it's worse, like it's riskier, right?
Yeah.
When you've hidden a note to the, you add the note to your resistance deck. You have hidden caches you set up in the world wherever you hide the notes. Any location you hide it is a hidden cache. You have to write down where the note was hidden and how it was hidden. If a character is ever in that same place later on, they can find a random note from the resistance deck. If a note is found in a hidden cache, the location is effectively depleted, and you erase the location from the list of hidden caches. The resistance deck is a randomized pile of hidden notes. Whenever a new note is added to the deck is shuffled. When a note is found, a random note from the resistance deck is drawn. So you can't, rules is written, go to where you left a specific note and get that specific note, right? You get whatever note you get. At the level of narrative, I've been allowing it so that, like, if it doesn't make sense for it to be a different note, because who would have moved it and put a new note there, whatever, I've just been letting it be that note. Finding notes. In order to find notes, you have to be in a location with a hidden cache. Then all you have to do is explain how you stumbled on it. All there is. No die roll, no penalty cost. Means it doesn't take an act from you either to do this. But be aware that being in possession is a thought crime, a serious thought crime, unless you report it to the authorities during your current phase, morning, work, lunch, etc. So if you report it right away, not a thought crime, to pick it up. If you don't report it right away, it is a thought crime. Make sure you're not observed when picking it up. Finding a note means there are no more notes to be found in that specific location. Erase the hidden cache, add it to the resistance deck. In addition, you gain 2 hope when you find a note written by a dead character. So basically, if Christopher writes a note, hides it somewhere, Christopher dies, and then you play whoever next, right? Alicia or Gloria or Tiffany or whoever. And you go back to where that was hidden and you get it, that person gets 2 hope and narrative truth out of that, right? So I'll explain what that means in a second, but a good strategy to hide notes for future characters to find, giving future generations more hope. So that gives them more access to use more class acts. That's part of how this works at the level of a roguelike. right?
Yeah.
Using notes. A carried note written by another character always contains a narrative truth, even if it contradicts Big Brother. Possessing such a note can negate or change a Big Brother reaction if it relates to the reaction. Notes must be carried to be effective and are removed from the game once used. So Big Brother reveals that a stranger named Hilda is in fact Thought Police. One of the players carries a note stating that Hilda is always loyal to the Resistance character. This means that the reaction is canceled and the note is used up. Narratively speaking, Hilda was caught in an internal conflict between her urge to be loyal to the Big Brother and Resistance characters and choosing to side with the Resistance. That's the example that's included in the
Okay.
text. Now, reporting notes. If a character is seen carrying, picking up, writing, or hiding notes, the only way for them to be sure that they are not committing a thought crime is by reporting the note to the authorities, effectively destroying the note. If a note is reported, the note is added to my investigation deck as Big Brother. Any notes in the investigation deck can be used against resistant characters later in an interrogation. And that is the basic realm of notes. So I wanted to take a second to go over that, even though we're in the de-rolling process, because I feel like where you're at right now, you correct me if I'm wrong, leaning into building out the social network feels also like it might be a good place for you to start thinking about
So I'll
what,
tell
if
you, it's funny.
anything, you want to do with this stuff. Go ahead.
Notes has been on the list, but I work in a department in which there's no visibility is everywhere, and that's the only reason Christopher's like. That's why it's like make friends so that I can know where is safe. Right, I go to
Yeah,
the therapy place unsure. I have a
sure.
new office, so I don't even know if it's safe. My old office got audited, so I have to make sure that it's clear. Like everywhere I work is high visibility, so I have to be like, okay, let me first establish who is trustworthy enough for me to feel like I can be obscured enough to do so.
Yeah.
I guess
Uh,
even the inspiration for the job I do is because I have found out like certain books got revision, like
mhm.
some books get like updated text to match the current like setting. The biggest
Right.
example I think is Pretty Little Liars added in TikTok to the book, and before it was like some other social media network, so they updated
Sure, sure,
it,
sure.
but no one knew until somebody was going to read it. And
That's
like
so funny.
that's the inspiration of what Christopher does is like all media that exists in all times has to be edited consistently and constantly, right? The fact that four became a banned word, his entire department had to go into overhaul to go through every piece of media
Yeah.
because the idea is that Big Brother never makes these mistakes. So all content that is official has to be accurate. And so like I've labeled it the Department of Accuracy and Precision so far is what I'm vaguely picturing it.
The Department of Accuracy and Precision. I love that. Let me put that in my notes. He works at the Department of Accuracy and Precision. And you see how I love the co-creative process here. I think that's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, that's the whole thing. It's like that's why like I'm in the correction department. There's people who like will re-edit film, people who will reshoot film, people who will go through scrubbing, so on and so forth. And like my entire
Yeah.
job is just to like catalog all the changes that need to happen so that the other departments then produce those changes.
Well, and they're able to use AI also. It's established in the universe environment. Not just that there exists Big Brother AI in the way that we've described so far, but like if fully able to use it to make like deepfakes and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
And so our entire job is cataloging all of it so that we can then put the backlog of all the changes that need to be made because
Yeah.
we just catalog all the information so we know if anything's missing or if anything wasn't changed correctly and so on and so forth. Which is like I was like that in a society like this, at first I was like, oh, it won't be that bad. Then I'm like, oh, imagine the stress of knowing all the possible realities over and over and over and knowing that like what you know can't be true. Not that you know
Yeah.
it's changed, but it's not true is the narrative your brain has to adapt to.
Yeah. And that you can't slip up on that. And it's layer over layer over layer. It reminds
Mm-hmm.
me in a way also of content moderation and the incredible amount of trauma that people go through with content moderation.
Yep.
2 minutes hate does that in general, right? Because 2 minutes hate is a process of traumatizing people twice a day,
Yep.
every day of their lives in a way that they will be punished for not giving their full attention to. and not
Mm-hmm.
themselves over to in a way that comports with behavior coerced by the state, regardless of how they're actually feeling or what else that makes them feel. It's a terrible, terrible trap that unfortunately has a lot, as exaggerated as it sounds, has a lot of very concrete real world analogs,
Yes.
right? Um, yeah, it's interesting. So even when I do I find even when I do very little, relatively speaking, with 2 minutes hate, like when I take a little bit of a lighter touch on a sliding scale, I find it still hits, and sometimes it hits in ways that I don't expect, right?
Oh yeah.
Because the person receiving it is filling in the gap, like it's
And it's so good, especially because like Christopher's entire position is sitting within a historic position, as in it deals with the past, but everything's about bringing tomorrow today. So like he also feels antiquated and like out of touch because he is too busy taking in information and then having to go back to fix everything and then having to ensure that everything is retconned correctly.
yeah, it's real tough. I love it. I'm excited. I'm grateful that you're a part of this. If you, speaking of notes, the last part of de-rolling wouldn't be something we do live here, but if you want to, you're able to, as a last step, write a note. As a last step of this procedure, write a note. Instead of writing the note as if it were an in-game character to another in-game character, consider what you would write on a hidden note to give a future finder a glimmer of hope and connection. So if you want to, you're able to take the exercise of what kind of note would you want to write in real life, essentially, right? And you can do it just for yourself or you can share it with me. Doesn't really matter. I will say I was allowing, we finished the first season of Main Table already. I was allowing for these notes to potentially be like show up, if you did want to take this as an opportunity to essentially add a note in story instead of doing this part of the exercise. You could do that. If you want to do something like that, you can send it to me too. We can figure out where to put it. It won't go into like sessions that have already been filmed, but if we do a joint table thing or whatever it is that we do, right? If
Yeah.
somebody does something that your character is not present for, could be there, or you don't have to. But that is the last part of the de-rolling, and I think for people to understand at home what the point of that, as I understand it, is it's so that we can. A lot of this game is influenced by and inspired by Augusto Boal's Theater of the Oppressed, and the idea, the most famous takeaway from that is theater is not revolutionary, but it is rehearsal for the revolution. And so I think this is a matter of continuing to work our muscles in a way that exits the magic circle and is more real world, right? Think about like how do we want to give each other hope in real life?
Yeah. God, I love this.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad that you do. That means a lot to me, and I hope that all of you watching this have enjoyed it too. Uh, if you do, stick around. We've got more coming. And have a great day. Hold on to your loved ones. Make the most of the day that you have in front of you. To go back to some of what I said through Tiffany earlier, one moment at a time, one day at a time. That's all we can take on, right? Give yourself some grace and have a great day. Bye, everybody.